As a white woman in America, I also completely relate to the struggle of Tyler, the Creator. I agree. Not now, puppy. Mommy is filming. Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay. So, today we are returning to Leadhead, unfortunately. So, if anybody remembers, quite a while ago, well, it wasn't a while ago, time is not, I don't have a really good perception of time. Anyway, we went over Leadhead, and Leadhead is a YouTube content creator. We can just go to their YouTube channel really quick. Leadhead is a trans woman. Leadhead has a pretty big channel, okay? So Leadhead has 343 subscribers. Her most popular videos have, you know, a couple million views. We got 3 million, 2.8, 2.2, 2.2, blah, blah, blah. But what ended up happening about a year ago, we started doing this weird gooner shit. Leadhead is a puppy girl. Leadhead is also has adopted trans adult children that she met over the internet that are her puppies. And she also like wanted to fuck them and then was like, actually, I feel more like mother than bae. So I have covered Leadhead pretty extensively before. I have a few videos on Leadhead. I think it's actually just one. I think I smashed everything into one video, I'm pretty sure. But there is a video on my YouTube channel going over the extensive lore of the Leadhead universe. I personally would describe Leadhead as somewhat of a groomer, kind of finding vulnerable, mentally ill trans people on the internet and convincing them that they're her puppy adopted children. I think that's freak shit. Personally, yeah, it's all just very odd, but Leadhead kind of took a little... Leadhead's one of those people that is like an amateur film school dropout, and so she does like these really like weird videos, and she makes them every once in a while, you know, kind of like how ContraPoints makes a video about once a year. She took a pretty lengthy hiatus, okay, and obviously it's because we have to have mediocre quality videos or whatever, so she recently posted another one. I have not watched this yet. I saved it just for you guys. I don't know what this video is about. I don't know anything about it. All I saw was that Leadhead made another video, and the title of this video is a long video about Tyler, the Creator, and trauma. So I don't, I don't really know what we're doing. I'm not really sure. And then also, I believe Leadhead to be a fake smoker, which is something that I find very personally offensive. Yeah, the whole thing is just a fucking mess. If you're unfamiliar with Leadhead, I encourage you to watch my video on Leadhead, because we watch most of the degenerate content together. And you know, it's always nice to watch with a buddy. I always recommend whenever we do cringe streaming, you know, always watch with a buddy. Make sure somebody's checking in on you so that you don't go cataclysmically insane, that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's always better to watch with a friend than alone. So if you have more questions about the extended Leadhead lore universe, you're more than welcome to check out my coverage of Leadhead that we did previously. But let's go ahead and watch this long video about Tyler, the Creator, and trauma. I am really excited to hear a white woman's opinion on Tyler, the Creator's creative outlets. I'm very excited. Let's begin. This video will almost definitely be demonetized. Any support on my Patreon would be appreciated. Let's see how many Patreons we have. Hang on. Where's our Patreon? Let's see. 755 members, $1,200 a month. And this bitch was complaining in one of the videos. She was like, "Oh my God, I have to DoorDash to make ends meet. I have to DoorDash to pay my bills, to support my family of puppies." And you're making $1,200 a month on Patreon. Oh my God, blow me. Okay. Also, this video will also probably be demonetized because I'm sure that if she's listening to Tyler, the Creator, I'm going to get copyright struck, or it's not copyright struck, but it's demonetized because it's copyright music played in the video. So this is a great reminder to make sure to donate, buy my merch, donate to my GoFundMe, and also like the video and give me your memberships and all that other good stuff. Okay, because I too am a poor, destitute leftist creator who only eats breadcrumbs for breakfast every day to make ends meet. So just keep that in mind as we continue. Igor.
I'm gonna go do my actual job. Babe, you wanna go to the park and film with me?
Do you want to go to the park and film with me?
No, literally, just stop. It's not. I'm not doing this anymore. Okay.
Yeah, fake smoker.
Okay, I'm gonna get the car started. Love you. Stay safe, okay?
Stay safe.
I fucking hate you, but I love you. I'm ready.
I'm just gonna mute this while the music's playing because Okay, is this talking now?
Shit.
I fucking hate
Who's
you.
that fucking psycho? It's just like, man, if she would just leave, if she would just leave us alone, that's all I need. That would just make everything better instantly if she was just gone. I don't know
Wait, what is happening?
what she's getting out of staying here. I don't know what she's getting out of hanging around us.
What is this video, you guys?
Work mode. I'm gonna just read through the script real quick. I'm just gonna go off of memory.
Also, look at the bottom of this longboard. This longboard has never been ridden before. This longboard has never been ridden before. Do you guys know what the underside of skateboards and shit that have actually been ridden look like? They don't look like this. This has never seen pavement before.
Okay, there have been a lot of musical obsessions over my life. Roger Waters, John Lennon, Jim...
Yes. Oh my god. Yes, white woman. I also love Tyler, the Creator. I'm already really upset here, guys.
Morrison, Aphex Twin, Tupac, Mac Miller, Carsey Address...
Tupac!
The Stereophonics. My memory of my childhood is, like, scarily fuzzy, but I can pinpoint exactly what was going through my head when I first dove into all of these different artists. How my life was changing, how my perspective was developing, what I thought the meaning of life was at all these different points. These things were all, at least in part, influenced by who I was listening to at the time. It was, like, kind of the only thing that kept me going for those first 18 years. School, friendships, family moments, even my girlfriends and boyfriends.
I'm really upset.
Nothing mattered more to me than my music. So,
Nothing's
when Roger Waters told me
more.
that religion was just a tool of the state, you bet your ass I became an atheist. When Tupac said that the ruling class invents conflict between the lower...
When Tupac said the N-word, I was like, yes! As a white woman, I completely fucking agree. Like, oh my god. When Tupac said that women are the black people of the world, I really felt that, and so I transitioned. What is going on? What are we doing? Oh my god!
Or middle classes so that they can run off with the money, you bet your ass I became a communist. When Emma Doom
What?
was less serious...
Oh my god! You guys, my entire political affiliation changed because I listened to a Rage Against the Machine song. I'm gonna... We're 3 minutes into this video, you guys. Oh my god.
And just have fun, you bet your ass I became a nihilistic optimist. I say all of this to demonstrate how seriously I take my music, how much it's
Very
always
serious.
How many artists completely changed me to my very core, so that you'll know that I put a lot of thought into it when I say that Tyler, the Creator, is my favorite musician of all time. So...
Yeah. I'm a fucking walking paradox. Tell him. Yes. Yes. Oh my god, yes. It's funny that, like, Tyler, the Creator is my favorite musician. But the whole, like, What is cyberbullying? Just close your eyes, turn off the computer. That doesn't apply. We didn't absorb that message, unfortunately. But
in this video, I'm going to be going through Tyler's discography and doing what I've always done with it. Introspecting. I think I'm going to end up being maybe even more honest than my...
Scones en jam donatet 5 lliures trucs superchat. I listenet to Pink Floyd and now Imanaza is to go.
Thank you very much, Scones and Jam. Everybody witness. I just feel like what's a song that changed my life, guys? Hang on. I'm going to play you guys this song. I just want everybody to, like, really... Everybody close your eyes right now. Everybody close your eyes. I want to share this with you because I actually completely agree with Leadhead right here. Right now, close your eyes. This song changed my life. Okay, listen.
Yo, 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 yo. A little rap song. Yo, 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 yo. Pussy, 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 marijuana, wanna. Pussy, 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 marijuana. Pussy, 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 marijuana, wanna. Pussy, 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 marijuana.
Like, did that not just change everybody's life? Wow. That was beautiful, wasn't it? Like, I could write an entire dissertation on like how that makes me feel. God, it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's continue. I too am a communist right now. I agree.
My audience is used to today. I've been going through some things, and with how long I've wanted to make a video about Tyler's...
I just want to do a little bit of analysis here, okay? So, I don't know what this is. Also, you guys, something that's really important, and I don't mean to scare everybody. I don't want to scare everybody, okay? But, like, if you get in a car accident, everything that's in your car is going to fly all over your car, okay? If you, like, roll off the freeway, your car's going, gush, 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 and everything's flying around. This is going to take out an eye. This is certainly going to kill somebody. You're going to get whipped in the face by whatever the fuck this is. There's a flower here that's going to impale you. The Mentos are going to explode open and, like, dislodge in your nostril, Final Destination style, and you're going to suffocate waiting for EMS. Like, there should not be this much. Where's the headrest? You're going to get whiplash and a TBI if you get rear-ended. Like, there is... Also, no! I think I have a shirt like this. Oh my god. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm alright. I'm fine. I'm good. Let's keep going.
This work, I can't think of any better way to talk about my situation with my audience. Let's see if these albums can help me cope.
Let's see if they can help
I was a
me
little
cope.
late to the party. I didn't get into Tyler until a little bit before his 5th album, Flower Boy, came out. For those who don't know, Flower Boy's the album where...
Also, I would like to point out, this is how you know somebody is a fake smoker. When you're driving, so I'm driving my vehicle, the window is on this side. I smoke with this hand because I ash out of the window, right? Like I'm driving and I'm like, oh, time to ash. And then you ash out the window. And then when you inhale, the smoke goes out the window. It doesn't like go into the car and then bake into the fabric and the interior of the car. This just is not how you smoke. This is fake smoking, okay? Fake smoking. Fake smoking. I'm not going to go put on the shirt. You can't make me.
Tyler came out as bi, and when you know it, I had
Tyler, the Creator, came out as bi, and that's why I'm a puppy girl.
just recently realized that my couple gay experiences weren't just a fluke, and that was just part of who I was, right around the time that album dropped. As it turns out, every album that Tyler's dropped since then seems to have come out at the perfect time for me, when I could really relate to it.
Wow.
So, what I really want to do here is...
As a white woman in America, I also completely relate to the struggle of Tyler, the Creator. I agree.
Talk about each album. We're going to briefly go over the mixtapes, Bastard and Goblin, but to be honest, there's not too much that I have to say about those, so let's just get started.
I can't even put on the shirt because she's just going to change the shirt when she does another cinematic switch. I can't do it. I can't do it.
And we can work our way to the meteor albums.
Written and directed by Leadhead. I would hope so. This is your YouTube channel? I just don't... Stop, you guys. What if I got a Fujifilm camera and I started making videos like this? Like, would you guys just, like, kill me? Like, find me in real life and kill me? Like, this is so gay. Not now, puppy. Mommy is filming. This just reminds me, like it's the same. It's a very archetypical, like, college white person experience, or stereotype, I should say. Like where you do mushrooms one time and you're like, wow, I'm enlightened. It's like, no, I actually don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how that works, actually. Oh my god, you guys, I took one hit off of a DMT cart, and now I know what it's like to die. It's like, I'm joining the war against drugs on the side against drugs, surprisingly. I know you would have never guessed that, but it's happening. It's happening. Like, at this point, just do Galaxy Gas and then tell me your inner monologue. Like, that's where we're at right now.
Like I said, I didn't get into Tyler until his 5th.
Wait, but okay, we brought a skateboard to the skate park that doesn't even have fucking wheels on it. What? Stop! Okay, it's not hers. Okay. I was like, get out of my fucking face. I was like, I'm transitioning into Tim Pool right now. I'm building a skate park to own the libs. I was like, you brought a fucking skateboard to the skate park without wheels on it. It's okay, it's fine, we're fine.
Like I said, I didn't get into Tyler until his 5th album, so while I can't say, yeah, Goblin came out...
Excuse me, wook-looking man, would you mind skateboarding around in the background of my avant-garde art piece for my YouTube channel about how Tyler, the Creator, inspired me to be transracial? What is going on?
Time for me. What I can say is, holy shit, I wish I had this one.
Why did she bring an Xbox controller to the park? Why is there an Xbox controller? I'm so upset.
I was in high school. My high school cynicism was scored by Pink Floyd telling me that all of this was a waste of time because I was just being indoctrinated into a system that consumes everything it touches. Now, that's
so it sounds like you have no sense of self. Okay, continue.
True about school, even when you take Thatcher out of the equation, but man, all Pink Floyd
Who's that one? What? That's Boy? That Subtronics looking ass motherfucker is Boy? No shot, no way.
taught me was that I should be depressed about it. If I had Tyler's early albums in my headphones back then, the lesson I would have learned would be fuck all the bullies and all the teachers, be proud of being a freak and don't be depressed because you're different. To be honest, it's pretty easy for me to believe
well.
that I would have gotten a backbone way earlier in my life if I was hearing kill people, burn shit, fuck school, instead of shown how to feel good and told to feel bad. I've got that backbone now, but that's a relatively recent development. To be even more honest, having a backbone a couple years ago probably would have spared me from the whole situation that's motivating this video.
Imagine just trying to enjoy your day at the skate park and this would be like I do a kickflip onto your head and I'm just like, whoops, like this is so crazy. Yeah, do an ollie or shut up. If you can't do a kickflip, get the fuck out of the skate park. Do a kickflip or leave. That should be like a new... I'm turning into a person that is like a big fan of gatekeeping at every level of the entire universe. If you want to come into the skate park, do a kickflip. If you can't do a kickflip, get the fuck out. Like, I'm so tired of all these posers.
I'll get into that stuff later, but just stick with me for now while I lay down the groundwork for these first 3 albums.
Tell me more.
Really,
Tell me more.
what grabs me about Bastard, Goblin, and especially Wolf is the aesthetics of it all. The music
Yeah,
videos,
I know your entire personality is based off of aesthetics. Continue.
the merch, the concepts, Odd Future, Loiter Squad, Camp Flogna, they all play a role in what these 3 albums are really all about for me.
Tell me,
This
white woman.
juxtaposition comes up immediately upon finding the first mixtape, Bastard, online. Weird, unsettling imagery of a bunch of kids with some uncanny photoshopping, mixed with that goofy-ass talk.
It's literally just red. Okay, whatever.
See, these first 2 albums are all about that juxtaposition, where all these dark, intrusive thoughts are turned
No, I
into
saw
edgy
it.
jokes, rhymes and wordplay turn murder and kidnapping into punchlines. It's like the old Slim Shady thing, except for 2 major distinctions that elevate the music and take it a notch above
What's
just
that?
shock value with some transcendental Dre beats. First
What's
off,
that?
the instrumentals just feel uncanny. Any rapper in the world could sound good over any.
What's the one? I'm a fucking walking paradox. That's just a rhythm song. That's literally just a rhythm song. Like the way that they patched the beats for that, it's literally just old school rhythm.
Any of the beats that Dre produced for Eminem, but only Tyler and a couple of his friends can
Also, don't make me defend Eminem, please.
really body the instrumentals on Bastard and Goblin. Weird chords, weird instruments, weird MF Doom inspired drums. It all shares the same jazz and R&B roots that most of rap music can be traced back to, but it's just different sounding. To this day, even Tyler has never really made anything that sounds like these first 2 albums do. It all works musically, albeit in a really dissonant way, but it falls into this uncanny valley of sound in a way that recontextualizes those edgy jokes. The fact that it all sounds so weird both reemphasizes the larger
Listening to music isn't for everybody, I guess. It's not for everybody.
message of fuck everybody else, do what makes you happy, and makes you think, or at least feel, like maybe this guy's serious. Maybe he does literally have a plan to kill Bruno Mars.
What? What? I don't know about that one. I don't know. That's, I don't know.
Tyler's not actually that twisted, but man, some people are. Secondly, there's this little rhyme scheme trick that Tyler does a lot back then, where he sort of backs up what he's saying, making it feel a little bit more legitimate, no matter how ridiculous whatever it is.
A little bit more legitimate. They just can't quit a bit because a second ago it was a McMinimate. Like, if she doesn't freestyle in this video, I'm gonna leave a really mean comment. I need a Leadhead freestyle in here, please.
Take a listen to this. See, a more traditional rhyme scheme would end with something that rhymes with, and the irony is. But by bringing back the previous bar's B rhyme, liked it and exciting, with hiding, it kind of sneaks up on you. And a lot of the time I hear him doing this trick, it's like I can't even immediately pinpoint what that last phrase was rhyming with unless I'm paying closer attention, because...
Wow. That's deep. This is really deep. This is, wow. I also like that she put the text on screen and that she highlighted the parts that rhyme. I really like that. God, that's an awfully hot coffee pot! Lyrical genius. You know, like when Tyler the Creator said, no, it was Kendrick Lamar said that I wish that my dick was as big as the Eiffel Tower, and I wish that I could fuck the world for 72 hours. That is just really inspiring. And I think that's why I really got moved into like Marxist-Leninism, you know, with like a little bit of Maoism in there as well, because like, what is the Eiffel Tower other than a symbol of Western imperialism and capitalism? I completely agree. This is a strong message.
Whoa! This is a strong message!
My brain was just primed to hear a different rhyme, but I know it rhymes with something that I heard not too long ago.
Orange rhymes with door hinge.
Not only does it just tie the verse together in a nice and unique way, but
Very
it gives
unique.
the verse that vibe. Like, it really doesn't care if I'm
The
internalizing
vibe,
lyrics or not.
yeah.
It all just feels so matter-of-fact, which is emphasized especially in this example by the cold drop into the chorus after that last bar.
Wow.
Like I said,
That's
it's
cold as
sort of
fuck.
a vague, abstract, vibey thing, but the confident, uncaring energy that this
vibey.
rhyme scheme gives off just adds to that feeling, as if someone's listening to it and they don't like it, they're the one with the problem. It's like it's saying you either get what I'm going for or you're completely irrelevant. That's kind of a philosophy I can really get behind as an artist. I make these videos for myself and for the people who like them, and that's literally it. I don't think about expanding.
Well, the thing is I don't really think people like these, because if we go back to her YouTube channel, it's like, okay, so this is an epidemic, and we really need to talk about this because it's really upsetting to me, because we have somebody here that has a YouTube channel with almost 350k subscribers. Some of our most popular videos have millions of views, and then we get into this weird avant-garde like art school slop. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, come on. We started doing this puppy girl shit, all of this, like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. This is for the people that care. Who? You? Okay.
Ending my audience for even a second. I just don't give a fuck about that. So you've got all that darkness, all that fuck you. You've got Tyler eating a cockroach and hanging himself in the Yonkers video, or fucking a doll in a sex dungeon in VCR. But that's contrasted
crazy.
by the bright, silly, and sometimes sentimental side of the Odd Future era.
Wow.
Songs like Her or Bastard or Ass Milk turning the tone from anger to pure...
What was that shit that Tyler, the Creator, was in? It was like OFGWTA. You know what I'm talking about? I had a bunch of those shirts when I was younger because they sold them at Zoomies and I thought they looked fucking cool. Like, this bitch has never seen the inside of Zoomies, okay? My culture is not your fucking costume, okay? Unless you're wearing fucking crew cut socks, Vans every single fucking day with a graphic t-shirt from the fucking buy one get one half off rack at Zoomies, I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear anything from you. This shirt is not from Zoomies, okay? She's a poser. A poser!
Pure sadness or goofiness. After hearing these two albums, you really get a thorough look at this whole spectrum of where Tyler's head was at the time. We see what makes him mad, happy, depressed, scared. We see what he thinks is funny. We see how he copes with his anger and depression.
Yeah.
These two albums, more than almost any other album I can think of, feel like perfect...
What was the GWTA? It was like off Gawata. What was the last couple of letters? Like, obviously OF was Odd Future, but what were the other letters? What did that even mean? It's going to be something really deep, I'm sure.
representations of what it's like to actually be in another person's brain in a way that I think is really special.
That's
Then
very
that
special.
feeling is just elevated by the merch, the videos, and all that stuff.
Should I make a video like this about Celine Dion? Because I think I could do it.
When you first dive into Odd Future, you really
I'm
are
into
just
it.
entering Tyler's world, and it's an interesting ass world to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more
Wow.
album.
I'm starting to get really emotional. What? Dude, I just get so fucking emotional when I listen to Tyler, the Creator. Like, wow. Wow. How are we already in chapter 3? Did we miss chapter 2?
I say The Bastard and Goblin put you in the mind of the artist better than almost any album, but truthfully, I only had one other album in mind. Wolf, the third album, and if you ask me, the answer to
Is this sped up? Oh my god, talk faster.
everything The Bastard and Goblin were setting up. It's just the final word on what these two albums were trying to achieve.
Final word.
Wolf is
Cool.
long, like 20 minutes longer than any of his other albums, unless you
Wow.
count the extended version of Call Me If You Get Lost.
Mhm.
It's weird, it's varied, it captures like a dozen different genres and subgenres of R&B and rap. It's uncanny, it's sad, it's funny, it's angry, it's forgiving. It takes that idea of putting you into Tyler's mind and it turns it into this giant musical epic. Wolf,
An epic,
more than any
okay.
other Tyler album, feels like an odyssey. It feels like this polished, refined version of everything that Bastard and Goblin were, while also foreshadowing a lot of the ways that Tyler would elevate his work over the rest of his career. If you ask me, Tyler knew that this juxtaposition of comedy, unseriousness, and really raw emotional vignettes was the best thing about his work at the time. One of my favorite traditions of his really came to be during Wolf, where at the end of his music videos, he would just cold cut mid-measure into a totally different music video.
What are we doing in the background? What the dog doing? What is the dog doing? Like, why are the children playing in the background? What are the children doing? Can you control your kids? Like, what the fuck is going on, guys? I'm so upset.
For a song with a totally different vibe. Look at This is just the best marketing. Coming from somebody who wasn't listening to Wolf back when it initially came out, this just made me so curious about what the hell this album even was when I first saw
Wow,
it.
okay,
More to the point,
cool.
though, it just emphasizes how broad of a net this album casts, how complete of a picture you're going to get of who Tyler is when you drop yourself into this world and listen to the album. Wolf is also
Yeah, I told you guys, if I went and put on the shirt, she would just change out of it. There was no purpose of me going to get the shirt. There was no purpose at all because we were just going to do this. I told you.
so significant for being the first album of Tyler's to really have a concrete narrative. Wolf is a story about this feud at a summer camp, Camp Flognaw, between a character named Wolf and a character named Sam, all centered around Wolf coming in and taking over Sam's life, replacing Sam as a member of the friend group, a little goon squad called the Dead Sams. Wolf steals Sam's girlfriends later before Sam eventually gets himself killed in a fight. The fact that the album is sung from both characters' perspectives is a
Intents and purposes, be kind.
really raw example of that juxtaposition that I appreciate
Do we know if this is an off-leash park? Oh, wow. You guys are killing me today. You're just killing me. That's a good one.
so much about Tyler's music. There's always this sharp dissonance between the individual songs where whenever an album drops, you can't really tell if Tyler's doing okay or if he's really going through it. At the end of this album, I'd say we get an answer to that question, a full summary of Tyler's headspace. And this is where Tyler learned how
The
to give his album
headspace.
such great endings, using a final song to recontextualize the narrative of the album and tie the story up in a way that makes the album feel complete in a way that his first two albums didn't. In this case, the whole thing ends with the song Alone, where Wolf is talking to the therapist at Camp Flog Gnaw about how he wants to give up on music because all the pressure from the fans and the pressure to always improve himself in a genre that he isn't fully committed to has stressed him out to the point where he was emotionally numb during his grandmother's death. This is also something that I kind of relate to in my own way.
Oh.
If you're somebody like Drake, then the death of a family member shouldn't really have much of an impact.
If you're someone like Drake, I just like. Does she not feel weird about doing this? Is a token honky like the vibes are a little rancid, are they not? Are the vibes not a little rancid here? Like, I don't know.
Impact on your artistic career, but for the rest of us, everything tends to get jumbled together. Especially if you're like Tyler and all of your work is so personal. Suddenly, all those fans wearing the Odd Future socks and playing your songs at the skate parks just become a reminder of how things were when your life was simpler. Similarly, it's...
Honestly, though, this is me after like 2 beers, you guys. Like, I'm running around, I'm whacking people with sticks. I'm trying to wrestle everybody. Like, this is Malcolm core. This is Malcolm core. That's what's going on in the background.
incredibly hard for me to think about my channel right now, amidst all the stuff that's been going on with me. Just thinking about all the things that I've shared with you guys over the years and how much of that stuff is relevant to my current situation, it makes me feel like I should just go to making bland, shitty game reviews or Drake songs or something.
Yeah,
so
probably a
I got
good
a
idea.
little bit less of an emotional investment in my own life. It's not like I don't appreciate all you guys. And
Like, she was literally designed by Yakub, I think, in order to make this video. This is... I said that I was Yakub's strongest soldier. That's not true. She was literally made by the evil scientist Yakub in a laboratory.
all the love you give me, but sometimes when the mood's right, it just makes me feel that much more lonely and isolated. Sometimes it's just a reminder of all the things that I've lost or that I never had to begin with.
That's hard.
Wolf had everything he could want. His rival Sam was dead. He had a huge friend group. He got the girl of his dreams, but he just wasn't satisfied. He still wanted to give it up.
Yeah.
Similarly, Tyler also had everything. He was one of the most successful up-and-coming musicians in the world at the time. Every kid in every skate park across America at the time was wearing OF socks and listening to Yonkers, and he did it all without ever having to sign up with a label. He did it all without ever having to compromise his vision or change his creative intentions to fit someone else's requirements. But Tyler wasn't satisfied. He didn't want to be known as nothing but a quirky rapper with...
I bet that's how Leadhead feels. Like, I'm just a independent creative, and it's really hard for me to make content about video games that were very lucrative and very successful because, like, it's just not my vision. My vision is making weird coon brain content or, you know, white-splaining Tyler, the Creator, to my predominantly white audience. And because Tyler, the Creator, told me that anarchy is cool, I'm now an anarcho-communist. It's like, has anybody had, like, an original thought? Anybody? Sometimes I get nihilistic and I'm like, I think that every thought that has ever been thunk has already been thinked. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm losing it.
a knack for marketing. He wanted to be a creator, someone who would change the genre forever, just like MF Doom, one of his biggest inspirations, managed to. Wolf was the end of an era. The next album proves to me that Tyler wanted his music to change. He didn't want to be pigeonholed into just being an edgy rap artist, end of story. I think Tyler wanted to change his style up so much that he didn't know if Wolf would be his last album to find success or not. So, as a goodbye to this era of Tyler's music, I think Wolf was intended to be the logical conclusion to everything that was so great about his first two albums. He wanted to show us all that he had mastered what he was initially doing so that nobody could say shit when he switched it up and started doing something else. As far as I'm concerned, he proved it. Nobody could have ever made this album better than Tyler did.
No one.
Wolf is, for all its quirks, basically perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
His next album,
Wow. Raving reviews.
Cherry Bomb, while being my favorite album of all time, is a lot less perfect than Wolf is. This is one thing...
Why is it your favorite if it's not perfect? I mean... I'm glad that we're all here to watch this. I can watch this by myself. I'm glad that you guys are here with me.
start to get interesting. This is when the songs start to feel more and more relevant to the nightmares that I've been having, both when I'm asleep.
Oh, yes, 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 Tramadump. This is what we're here for. Yes, 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 yes. How is there still like 2 hours left of this video? This is crazy.
And when I'm trying to push through the day.
Yeah.
More than
Sure.
that, though, Cherry Bomb is the album where we can start to lay down the foundation of who I am,
Oh,
so that all the albums that he made...
it's literally about me. You guys, Les Mis is literally about me. You didn't know that. But when they wrote Les Mis, the play, they were like, this is about Malcolm. This is true. This is a strong message.
afterwards can tear that person down.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Ooh, what do you guys think the symbolism was there? Let's discuss. Let's discuss. Leadhead went to go and use the women's restroom, but the women's restroom was locked, so she had to go to the men's restroom. What do you think this says about society? What do you guys think this says about society? Tell me this. Put on your feminist lens, okay? What does this say about intersectionality in this country? I think it's very important. I think it's important to think about this. Let's continue. This is very cool, guys. This is... What is that? Is that the Benjamin? Oh no, she dropped the Benjamin! Oh. Guys, did we accidentally do drugs? Did we accidentally do drugs, you guys? I'm trying to think. Did I accidentally touch something that had like fentanyl on it or something and I'm like... I'm dead? Like this is limbo? What is going on?
Hey, baby, I'm so fucking sorry to wake you up. I'm at Salem Park and I've got a lock that needs picking.
Go-go gadget, anarchist, polycule, puppy girl, harem member that knows how to pick locks. I think the hardest thing about these videos for me is like she had to edit this. It's like the hardest part for me is like it's one thing to just like make a video, just throw it out there. You know, you're just like whatever. I'm not even gonna watch it. I'm just gonna record my thoughts and send it out into the ether. But to sit down and edit this. It's just diabolical, bro. It's just diabolical, bro. I don't...
I'm so fucking sorry. Do you think you can come
Great point, Barbie. She has her phone. She could just watch a YouTube video on how to pick the lock right now.
over here? Thank you. More than any other album I've ever listened to, Cherry Bomb understands how it feels to be me.
Why is she sitting... You guys! You guys!
One of the traits I'm happy to say I share with Tyler is ambition.
I thought she was going to say that we're both black, but I'm glad that that wasn't the answer.
I'm someone who can always see what change I want to make in my life next. I've always got a goal in mind, and a lot of the time, I've got a plan to work towards it. This is a positive trait, no arguing that, but man, the other way that you can look at it is that no matter how good my life is, no matter how many of my goals I've achieved, I'm never satisfied. Something's always missing.
Truly capturing the effortless swagger of a young black man. Everybody, let's practice some mindfulness. Let's do a few deep breaths before we continue, because this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot. Okay.
Those problems, those imperfections, whether little or big, become my whole world. No matter how good my life is, I'm a compulsive problem solver, and so if there's ever a problem, no matter how slight, it's all that I can think about.
Obviously not if we have to call a bitch to get us out of the bathroom. A real problem solver would Google how to pick a lock.
My wife and I have this rule that we need to do everything we can to make sure that we never go to bed while there's still something we need to talk about, or while we're in the middle of an argument or whatever. That hasn't really been possible lately, unfortunately. Her and I are doing fine, but lately there's just so much shit that we need to talk about and figure out, and so many perfectly fine days have ended with me keeping her awake.
Legend says that she's still in this bathroom to this day. Legend says that she's still in the bathroom.
In bed for an extra hour and a half, making sure that we're on the same page about some small, irrelevant issue in our lives. Ambition is the reason that I've achieved everything that I have this early in my life, but it's also the reason that I can hardly ever appreciate any of it. Jesus.
She touched the piss. She touched the bathroom floor sludge. She touched the sludge. She touched the sludge. Is she gonna get up? Is she gonna get up and wash her hands? She just touched the sludge. Leadhead's like 25, 26, I think.
Cherry Bomb, Tyler's fourth album, is a love letter and a promise to music, and it's a treatise on the Sisyphusian struggle of the ambitious.
Why are you showing the fucking jizz stain on the floor in the bathroom?
And it's a treatise on the Sisyphusian struggle of the ambitious.
What are we doing? Help! Mom, come and get me. Mom, come and get me. Mom, come and get me. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. Freak out, freak out, freak out, freak out. I'm losing control.
Yes. We'll get into the ambition side of things shortly, but let's start with the love letter and promise to music part. Like I said, Wolf was the end of an era for Tyler, and if the last song alone is anything to go by, he was starting to get pretty tired of doing his original shtick.
Why did you blur out the urinal, but you didn't blur out the cum on the floor?
Cherry Bomb can be seen as the awkward transitional album between old and new Tyler. Both of his eras have been so distinct that I guess everybody forgets that Cherry Bomb is out there blurring the lines between the two.
What did the door say? What did the door say?
Both of his eras have been so distinct that I guess everybody forgets that Cherry Bomb is out
This is broken. You gotta pick it up. What?
there blurring the lines between the two. Cherry Bomb is all about wanting something that you aren't allowed to have. In Tyler's case, that thing he wanted seems like it was just to be an R&B pop artist instead of an edgy rapper. Like I said, I don't really have any.
Oh no, somebody's musical ambitions changed. They wanted to change their style of content. I don't. Let me out of the bathroom. I feel like I'm locked in the bathroom with Leadhead right now.
Place to talk about racial issues, but I'd say this feeling like Tyler was betraying how everybody saw him at the time is probably the motivation behind the Buffalo music video, with
Hi Magic Man, how are you? Welcome to the Crush Up.
whiteface, blackface Tyler getting lynched. Let's get into the music now, though. It's intense.
Let's get into it.
Audibly, Cherry Bomb is a higher contrast album than pretty much anything else I've ever heard. It starts out so angry and high energy that it's just genuinely difficult to listen to. Just blaring.
CE Gelli donatet $1 amb 99 centaus truc superchat. Malte ou tindis i suma bueu fatix uvar?
Everybody witness, thank you, C Jelly. Actually, unironically, yes. In the same way that I think that people that make TikToks in like a crowded Costco, I think those people are like voyeuristic. Like maybe they don't get like sexual gratification from it, but there's something there. There's something there. You know, the person that interrupts everybody's day to make a TikTok and make everybody else uncomfortable. There's something going on up here. There's some kind of weird thing going on in the mind. I would agree that that doing this in public is diabolical. I think that it's very. I just don't think that there's something wrong. There's something deeply, deeply, deeply wrong with this individual, and it, you know, maybe it's not sexual, but I mean, either way, you know, it's there's certainly something to talk about.
Distorted guitars, bass so heavy that it'll peak anything but the absolute best sound systems a broke audiophile like myself can afford. It's not even that it's mixed badly, it actually sounds incredible on equipment that can handle it.
Who is this Calvin Garrar? Who is he?
Thank you, Novel, and I have actually noticed. Enjoy a gasp.
No.
Yeah, this is like, I'm going to show this video to everybody that's like having a bad trip. Normally when I go to concerts and festivals and stuff, like if somebody's like cooked, I'm always just like, hey, like, do you want some water? Or would you like a, you know, like a cigarette? Do you want to hit my vape? Like, are you okay? Like, you look like you're seeing God right now. Do you need anything, bud? You want me to go get you like a French fry or something? I've changed my mind. This year, if I see anybody tripping nuts at a festival in a bad way, I'm going to show them this video. I'm going to be like, hey, I got to show you something. And they're going to be like, ah! And it's going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal.
But the music itself is just so pissed off and frustrated that your Apple headphones or your car speakers just can't really parse it. The mids get absolutely crushed with every bass note, and it becomes so incredibly hard to even understand what Tyler's saying. Again, unless you're listening on relatively serious audio equipment. When I'm so mad that I feel like I could scream at somebody, what I do is I go on a drive, crank this album up to 10, let it get all distorted and fucked up sounding, and just scream these lyrics in the car. If I'm not mad, the first few songs on this album just give me...
This is where we're gonna get some hot takes, okay? If you're upset like this and you're driving, you should be forcefully institutionalized. This is how you kill people. When you're upset like this, you shouldn't be driving. That's not safe. It is not safe for you to be at a level 10 dysregulation meltdown and you're driving a motor vehicle that is going at speeds that you could very easily kill a family of any size. This is a terrible idea. This is a very bad idea.
A headache, but in those rare instances where I'm as mad as I'm just capable of getting, this is exactly how my feelings sound. I don't get that mad very often, but when I do, it's almost always because of one of those nagging imperfections my problem-solving mind likes to hyperfixate on. Then I get mad at myself for not just being able to appreciate all the good in my life. If you listen on speakers that are actually good enough to understand the lyrics here, you'll realize that Tyler's rapping about that exact same shit. I'm famous. Everybody loves the music I put out, but I don't. I think Yonkers is ass, but everybody keeps sucking my dick over it. I worked so hard to get where I am, and now all I want is to be somewhere else. I've got this desperate need to do something different that all my fans are going to absolutely hate, and I feel like I'm gonna fucking explode if I don't do it. This is exactly, to a T, how I feel every time somebody talks to me about my old Half-Life videos, or really anything from that first era of the channel, knowing full well that they don't appreciate what I'm going for these days.
Here's a really crazy idea, and listen, as a problem solver myself, girl, this is my recommendation, okay? And this is a really good idea. You should write this down. If you build a pretty successful, platform or whatever the fuck, doing videos on like media analysis, and then after a while you're like, you know what? I don't really want to do media analysis anymore. It's not really my speed. Make another YouTube channel. If I started making Bible study videos tomorrow, you guys would be like, Malcolm, literally die. Why are you doing this? We don't like this. This is ass. I don't want to watch this. Why would I not just make another channel called Malcolm Reviews the Bible? And then if you guys wanted to go and watch that, you could go and watch it. I could drive some of the people in my audience that might give a fuck about that over there. And then I'm not going to explode. I'm not going to internally combust because I can't get my creative outlet. Like, this is the same whiny baby bullshit where it's like, I'm entitled to people consuming and liking my work. And it's like, no, you built a platform making a very specific kind of content. And now you're making a totally different kind of degen coomer, like weird fucking psychobabble bullshit content. And nobody likes it. And you're like, I'm going to explode if I can't make the content that I want to make. Nobody's telling you that you can't, but if you're going to put it on the same channel, obviously everybody's going to fucking boo and hiss the whole time. Obviously. Like, come on. I just solved your own problem for you. You already have a second channel, Leadhead. Just do all of this gay shit on your other channel. And then if people want to go and watch it, they can. Like, it's because she wants to retain her audience base. That's why. She wants her dick sucked. Because everybody's like, oh my God, you're so enlightened and smart and stunning and brave and brilliant and show-stopping. But the reality is like, this kind of content is horrible and painful to watch. This is an excruciating watch. Put it away. It shouldn't see the light of day. Put it away.
Days. I worked my ass off to make those videos. I cared about them so much when I made them, but now they're just nothing but a reminder of the fans that I'm letting down when my artistic goals as a creator change. If you want to talk about imperfections in my life that make it hard for me to appreciate the things I worked towards and achieved a couple years ago, that's a big one. So I throw on Cherry Bomb, I wake the neighbors up, blasting it in my cars, I just peel out of the driveway.
Yeah. I love being a nuisance to my neighbors and those in my immediate vicinity because I'm emotionally dysregulated. Yes, I agree.
Then, the next thing I know, after I've worked through a bit of that anger, my brain turns back on and I realize that I'm listening to this.
I'm surprised that she didn't do this in a bathroom that had like a glory hole or something. Like, we could have been more avant-garde here. Like, we're not being edgy enough. Like, if we want to do it, let's full send.
It's music I could sleep to or cry to or find the motivation to change my life to. This album starts out so incredibly difficult to listen to in any other headspace besides as angry as you can possibly get. And then it turns into just the most beautiful music in the world. Listen to it and you'll see what I mean. You won't even realize that you're listening to something beautiful at first, but the second it hits, you're just on this completely transcendent ride up until the very end of the album. To be honest, that gradual transformation does a lot to calm me down when I am in one of those horrible moods.
Cool.
So that's what it sounds like. But what is it really saying? Well, this is where the whole love language
Tell me, white woman.
If you ask me, that angry, difficult stuff towards the beginning of the album represents how Tyler feels about his old music and the reputation he's earned with it. It's edgy, it's dark, it's noisy. It's like everything Tyler was doing on songs like Radicals or Trash Wing.
If I wish I were the creator, I would personally copyright strike this video. I would personally go out of my way to copyright strike this video.
Pushed to the point where it doesn't even sound like Tyler anymore. And it leaves you just missing something. Don't get me wrong, these songs still slap in their own way, but that thing that they're missing is the nuance. The nuance that makes his older music transcend past the likes of early edgy.
Stop showing the cum!
Like Bastard or Goblin or Wolf if he sucked out all the sentimentality, all the heart.
Also, it was brought to my attention the other day, and I encourage everybody that wants to preserve the sanctity of their eyes and their sanity to not do anything with this. Apparently Leadhead is really into feet as well. Unfortunately, that was bestowed upon me against my will. These shots, this is like Quentin Tarantino levels of degeneracy, in my opinion. Like if you're into feet and you're filming like this, it's because it makes you horny. All of them, actually. But yeah.
All the happiness that was hiding behind the edgy talk of school shootings and kidnap. It's about halfway through song 3, Pilot, when he's talking about how badly he wants to hijack a plane and go do 9/11, when suddenly that anger turns into...
Well, I mean, that's kind of like a bit, because 9/11 already happened, you know?
Yearning, with the beautiful voice of Sidney Bennett harmonizing with him as he just says, I don't want to crash anymore, I just want to find my wings. And then he goes on to deliver a verse all about how he just wants to find somewhere where he can be himself without any expectations placed onto him, and how he can buy anything in the world, but You just can't buy that kind of peace. If you want to fly away to a magical place where you can do what you like, you can't buy your wings. You have to just find...
Wow, this is a strong message. She's talking about how, like, you want to fly away and you want to live your own truth and be your own person, but you just can't because of the constraints society is putting on you. And she's showing the footage of her not being able to get into the women's bathroom. This is a strong message, you guys. Write that down.
For yourself. It's the first time that this album softens up a little bit and stops sounding so angry. Then that just gets immediately cut off with the most hectic, angry track on the whole album, Run, in which this pissed off voice just tells him that he's trash and that last song was preachy and weak and that nobody wants to hear that shit. Moving forward, there's this push and pull between the soft, yearning, flying side of this album and the angry, grounded side telling him to get his head out of the clouds and just go make Yonkers 15 more times and call it a day. One particularly interesting song on this album is Fucking Young/Perfect. This is a tricky one to talk about. It's supposedly a true story about a time that Tyler got a crush on a minor. If the song's lyrics...
I'm sure that this is the one that she resonates with. I'm very sure.
to be believed, then things never got any more serious than a dance and a couple FaceTimes, which, for the record, is way more than should ever happen between an adult and a minor. But, like I said, I'm not here to talk about real life. For the purposes of this album, this is, like most of the others, a song about wanting something so badly even though you know that you can't have it. It's uncomfortable to listen to in a way that everything else Tyler's made before just isn't, because it's in the context of his most heartfelt, vulnerable, and emotional album yet. That said, that discomfort is part of the experience of the album, so I guess it is what it is. Personally, I'm of the belief that the reason this song is here is to draw that parallel. The girl from the song, and by extension all the women he addresses at different points in Cherry Bomb, represent his musical goals and creative ambitions. He's in love with something he can't have. And in the context of this metaphor, that thing he can't have is a career where he's known as a composer and as a musical genius, instead of just a quirky rapper with some well-composed beats. I also just have to say, the second half of this song, Perfect, is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. Kali Uchis fits so perfectly into Tyler's world, as do all the other singers on this album. Tyler's singing hasn't really reached its full potential yet. He gets better at singing.
Malcolm, did you see her tweets for this scene? Apparently she was worried about being essayed in the men's restroom. I'll see if I can track them down. It's very performative. The things that you do for art, I suppose. We still have an hour and a half left, guys. Woo!
As his discography progresses, but in the meantime, it just kind of adds to that punkish vibe that his early music always had. It's just an acquired taste, really. Moving on, though, I said that Perfect was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. Well, the final song, Okaga, California, is the actual most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Oh, so we lied. Okay.
With Okaga, California, Tyler hits the trifecta. My favorite song of all time is in my favorite album of all time from my favorite artist of all time.
Okay.
Okaga is about that magical place that Tyler wants to fly to. This is the promise part of this album's love letter to music. As far as I'm concerned, this is Tyler promising to his music that he's going to get to Okaga and leave all of this edgy shit in the past. He's scared, but he has to do it. Here's a snippet of him talking to that music.
Oh, so and then we're vandalizing the inside of this bathroom. Very cool. I'm very happy with this.
It feels like all of that yearning finally paid off.
That yearning.
I finally achieved my goal. I got what I wanted. I'm finally satisfied. I might not feel that way forever, but right now everything is perfect, and I know in my heart that I earned it. Everybody talks about Igor's musical loop, how the album ends on an unresolved note, which is then resolved by the first note of the album, implying that the story is cyclical. Well, Cherry Bomb does that too, in a little bit more of a subtle way, with some unresolved feeling drums that lead perfectly into the beginning of the album. Take a listen.
Take a listen. I'm actually okay because I don't.
Because it's just too depressing for me every time I hear that transition.
Wow. Very sad.
Ambition is a cyclical thing. For all the times that you work your ass off and finally make it to Okaga, eventually you're going to just be as pissed off at the next problem as you were at the last. I may finally achieve what I've always wanted and have the life that I've always wanted, but I'm a human, and an ambitious one at that. And sooner or later I'm going to find a new problem, and suddenly my life doesn't feel as complete as it used to. The worst part is that when that happens, it really does feel like this transition. Just going from the most beautiful song of all time directly back into that difficult to listen to anger that started out the album.
It sounds like we have a lot of problems that therapy could probably help fix. Like, part of life is understanding that not everything is going to be perfect, you guys. Life is not perfect. Nothing is perfect, okay? Nothing is. Nothing is without error, without flaw, okay? Part of being able to combat that is living and building a meaningful life where even, on days where it doesn't really feel like you did anything that you were supposed to do, or maybe you feel a little down in the dumps, maybe a little sad girl, that's okay because there are just a repertoire of experiences that you have had and that you're going to have in the future. It's important to know that, I recommend this book all the time. It's called The Happiness Trap. It's like about this idea that we're meant to be happy all the time. And you're not. Happiness is like a euphoric rush of like all the feel-good chemicals, and that only happens at really big moments in your life, or moments that are really special or really unique. And those moments are really few and far between in your life. But you can find happiness and joy in small aspects of your life throughout the day, just little things that you do to cheer yourself up or make yourself happy. Building a meaningful life means being able to find the joy in small, minute, simple tasks. It's not like you're getting the rush of euphoria and like the huge happiness that you would get on like your wedding day or like graduating from school. That's not what you're looking for. Every day is not going to be a groundbreaking revelation of the best thing that's ever fucking happened to you. It's learning to appreciate and enjoy and find happiness in monotonous tasks and little things that you do every day and finding the good in those. Okay, wanting to chase this eternal high of doing good and making a successful YouTube video and graduating film school and adopting another online Discord puppy. That's a really good way to be in an infinite loop of depression for the rest of your life, because every day is not going to be the euphoria boner that you wish it to be, unfortunately.
I know I'm moving forward, but whenever that happens...
It's in stream chat, you sent them to me? Okay, hang on. Small detour, hang on. Let's look at these. You said it's in stream chat. Perfect, we'll read these and then I have to go piss girl. Hang on, sorry. I only needed roughly another 30 minutes in that bathroom to get the rest of the footage I needed for this section of the video. God, I am looking forward to never having to go to that bathroom again. Literally my first time being in a men's room since I transitioned, and it's a filthy men's room, and one that I'm not supposed to be at this late. Okay, then don't. And one where I have to stay inside of it for extended periods of time without anybody standing guard outside, and it's under circumstances where I have to wear one of my sluttiest outfits for artistic reasons. This is one of our sluttiest outfits right here. This is... Okay. Y'all, this feels so incredibly unsafe, but it's just the type of shit I'm willing to do to make my videos. LMFAO. Luckily, there's nothing else in this vid that's going to put me at risk of anything besides having to be polite to a cop and leave the area for the night, which, like, that's the standard fare. Every video I make late involves at least one conversation with the cop telling me to quit filming and go somewhere else. Legitimately thinking about keeping track of policeman hours wasted bothering harmless ol' me per video. Actually, I think that it's actually, personally, this is just my opinion, okay? And don't get mad at me, this is just my opinion. I think that somebody camping out in a public restroom with a video camera is actually, like, pretty reasonable cause for concern. Like, if there was somebody sitting crisscross applesauce on the floor of a public restroom recording themselves from multiple different angles at the same time, that's... I would say that that's cause for concern, personally. Maybe that's just me, but that is certainly cause for concern in my opinion. And again, she's a film school avant-garde art major or whatever the fuck. You know what she could do? She could, like, start this video with her walking into the bathroom and do that, and then cut, and then have her in a bathroom that's actually safe. Like, there's ways around this, right? Like, what is set creation? What is, you know, being flat? Like, I don't understand it. Like, you record a shot of you, like, walking into the bathroom and being like, oh my god, no, I have to use the men's bathroom. Cut, and then you sit in your bathroom, like, at home. And make it look like you're in a public restroom. Like, you don't actually physically have to be in that bathroom. You also don't physically have to be in that bathroom at night because you're sitting on the floor like this. How am I supposed to know it's nighttime? It's gonna look exactly the fucking same in the daytime. No? You could even film this bit in the women's bathroom if you wanted to. Because how am I gonna know except for the fact that you're panning over looking at the urinals? What? This is a self-created issue and I don't care. This is a self-created issue and I don't care. I don't care. Were 100 different ways that you could have gone about doing this without endangering yourself or whatever the fuck. There were 100 different ways you could have done this. And also, I just, like, don't... I don't... It's dumb. It's dumb. That was a stupid choice. And 100%, if I went to the bathroom and I saw somebody crisscross applesauce filming with, like, 3 different cameras, I would also call the cops. I'd be like, what the actual fuck are you doing right now? You're in here with, like, a fucking casting couch setup in a public bathroom at a park. Yeah, dude. That's fucking freak shit. That's crazy. It's crazy. That's crazy. Let's keep suffering, guys.
It just feels like I'm losing all of that progress. I'm right in the middle of that right now.
Sorry.
A few months ago, I was talking about motherhood and love. Shit, I even got married recently, but as of lately,
Darn.
on the charts, I'm directly at the beginning of this album, in Death Camp, and I'm as mad as I've ever been this month. Yet again, it feels like everything I've ever worked for is either falling apart or even enough in the first place. I'm sitting here thinking about what I could have done to stop this from happening, and just stuck with the knowledge that nothing I could ever do would have been enough to cut out the metaphorical cancer that's in my life right now, or stop it from spreading so far in the first place. That cyclical feeling to it all, like everything I'm ever going to fight for in my life someday just won't be enough, and each fight will just be replaced with a new fight, a new fear, a new thing that it feels like I'll never have, over and over and over again until I'm dead. It hurts. The looping transition from Okaga to Death Camp is maybe the most cynical thing I've ever heard an album do, and the worst part is that it's so incredibly accurate how it feels to be ambitious. Every time I finish making a video, I usually hate it by the time a week's gone by, and the non-donating viewers get to see it. Yearning is the human condition.
Yearning.
I want to change that for the world. I just wish that it didn't have to come with so much anger and sadness every time.
Yeah, good. Get off the floor. Disgusting! Did she fucking lock herself in this bathroom for the bit? Like, I don't understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ah! Oh my god. Okay. Back to the skate park at night? Oh, riffraff. Riffraff, bro. I hate riffraff. Bro, I fucking hate riffraff. No. Get out.
Alright, Flower Boy. This is kind of a tricky one for me to talk about. I haven't worked on the script for like 5 days because I've just been listening to this album over and over and over again on repeat.
Cool.
I'm not trying to figure out what it's about or anything, but trying to find that personal connection with it. See, I could focus on the queer angle. It's the album that Tyler used to come out of the closet, and that's the most obvious connection I'd have to it, right? I was still in the closet to a lot of people when the album came out, and as someone who had only recently gotten into rap music at that time, this hyper-masculine genre, honestly, Flower Boy made me feel like a little bit less of a poser for caring so much about this genre, and so many of its artists would just hate me on principle alone. The thing is, though, this album isn't...
Very true. Rap music hates trans people and women. Very true. The predominantly African-American music genre is inherently violent, misogynistic, and, you know, oppressive to queer communities. Very true, Leadhead. That's a really brave take to make. Hello? Hello?
just about being gay. It's not...
You guys thirsty? You guys want the skate park Sprite? Anybody thirsty?
about hiding your queerness from the world. That might be what the song Garden Shed is about, but that's 4 minutes out of a 47-minute long album. No, to me, Flower Boy is like an album all about self-discovery. Realizing you're gay, coming out of the closet, all that stuff.
Leadhead 2 is a black bisexual man struggling to fit in. I disavow this comment. I shake my head as I read it. I disavow.
Can be part of self-discovery for some people, but there's so much more to it.
There's a lot to it. I agree.
Time for a little story about self-discovery.
Tell me about it. Yes.
I didn't discover myself when I was hanging out with my friends. There wasn't any self-discovery back on the hikes or the drives or the camping trips. I didn't learn anything about myself in the hot box or during sex or after my first kiss. The only time I ever self-discovered were the loneliest, most painful times of my life. I realized I liked dudes after a super close family friend died, and I plunged into this alcoholism that drifted me apart from my
Grandma, I'm gonna miss you forever. I love you so much, Grandma. I miss you. God, I wish I was sucking a dick right now. What? You guys. It took my grandma dying in 9/11 to discover that I was gay.
high school girlfriend. After a year or two of drinking and getting bent over at parties, I fell into this group of other teenage alcoholics, and by the time we were about to hit our 20s, every single one of them, each pursuing life goals in a way that was totally foreign to me, just slowly drifted out of the friend group until eventually it was just me again, all alone and as depressed and addicted as I'd ever been. That depression and that loneliness led to a bit more self-discovery. I gave up drugs and drinking, and
good for you.
Then I just had literally nothing. Not even vodka was there to keep me warm at night.
Deep.
Even more loneliness for me meant even more self-discovery. I started this channel, and for the first time in my life, I was passionate about something that was actually good for me.
Oh, fuck, wrong one. Sorry, wrong one.
No.
Accordingly, all was good for a bit, until I blew up. And suddenly, over the course of about a week, I went from sharing my thoughts on some niche topics with, like, 300 people to having a platform that was more than a dozen times bigger than the population of the town I've spent my entire life in. Suddenly, there were a couple 100,000 people out there who would love to be my friend, and yet somehow I didn't have a single friend, or at least not in real life. It was just me and my childhood bedroom and my computer and a pile of money like nothing I'd made before or since. The money was so good, in fact, that I was able to move out and get my first apartment. A few months after COVID started and we were quarantined, I finally moved out of my parents' house. I was making enough that I was able to cover the rent entirely on my own, with plenty of wiggle room too, so I was successful at everything, except getting back that social life that I miss more than anything else I'd ever had. So I sat alone in my fancy apartment and plunged even further into my loneliness. Finally, all I wanted was to get back to the days of my childhood and my teenage years when I was just chilling in this park with my homies every afternoon. I wasn't living on my own for 2 months before I realized, oh shit, well, I'm not living with two people who've been calling me this one name for 22 years. I actually stopped feeling like that's a good name for me after all. So at the
I think I saw this post, and I really enjoyed it, you guys. It really meant something to me. It was almost as powerful as the Tyler the Creator lyric. But it was somebody who posted something on Twitter, and it was like, what do I call myself if I feel like a boy, girl, boy sometimes, and then other times I feel like a girl, boy-ish. But, like, not in a non-binary way or something like that. And somebody retweeted it, was like, you guys spend way too much time thinking about yourselves. And that's, again, we're gonna, everybody sit down, crisscross applesauce. We're having another deep talk, guys. This is why introspection is not what you guys want to be doing all the time. You want to be doing insight, okay? And you might ask, are those not the same thing, Malcolm? I'm very glad that you asked, because they're not, okay? Insight directly pulls from the way that you exist and move through the world. Introspection is just a really good way to get high off of your own fucking farts, and you can convince yourself of fucking anything if you spend way too much time in your head, okay? So one of the really big examples, there's a really good book about this, it's called Insight. It's by Tasha Eurich. It's another great book that I recommend. Write that down, okay? If I am asking myself a question and I'm not seeking outside perspectives, I'm just going to get high off on my own farts. So let's do a quick thought experiment here really quick. Let's pretend that I'm really concerned that nobody likes me. I'm like, I think that everybody hates me, actually. Sometimes people will come and watch my YouTube videos. Sometimes, when people will invite me to hang out with them. But they're all bullshitting me. Actually, everybody hates me. Nobody likes me at all, and I don't know what to do about that. I'm going to start asking myself questions. I'm going to ask myself, why do people not like me? Why does everybody hate me? Why does everybody want me to go and eat worms? Why is a useless fucking question, because there isn't really a good answer. If you ask yourself, what about me is dislikable, that forces you to take into consideration other people's perspectives. If somebody says to me, Malcolm, I think that you're a really insensitive person, I say, why? Why would this person say this? It's because they hate me. It's because they're transphobic. It's because they fucking hate me, and it's Pride Month, and they just want to be evil and vindictive. If I ask, what about me makes that person say that about me, I'm asking a more important question, because I'm asking, what characteristics am I putting out into the world that give people a certain impression of me? And then I can decide, is that something that I care about, and is that something that I want to change? If you spend too much time in your own head around your own thoughts, you can convince yourself of anything, and you can shed responsibility and agency for every single thing that you wish to correct in your life. If somebody tells you that you're a really mean person and you don't like that, you're like, I don't want to be a mean person. I wish that I could change that. I really don't like that. If you sit there and pontificate in your own head endlessly, what ends up happening is you spiral all the way down into thinking, actually, fuck this person. I don't care what they think of me. But maybe you are actually being a mean person. It's important to ask those questions of why, or what about me what behavior am I exhibiting that makes other people have this perception of me? You are not existing in isolation. You are a social creature. The way that you convey yourself to other people gives people an impression of you. And if there is something about you that you do not like, there is something that you can do about it and you can change, but you cannot do that without incorporating other people's perspectives of you. Obviously, at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night and you go to sleep, you're not with your friends, you're not with your family, you're not with your mom, you're not with your brother, you're not with everybody that you hang out with in Discord. It's you alone with your thoughts, and you need to be okay with that person at the end of the day. But you can integrate other people's feedback of you in order to change your behavior and get a better, more accurate read on who you are as a person. Because if you lock yourself in your own headspace, you're going to get high off your own farts. I'm not a mean person. That's not even mean. I didn't even mean it that way. Blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. Seeking outside perspectives actually helps you grow and change so much more than just sitting there endlessly circling the drain about like, well, What if, I don't know, what if I am non-binary? What if I am like super mega gay? Like, what about that? What about this? You have to consult outside perspectives if you want to grow and change as a person, because the way that other people perceive you is a direct indicator of your behavior. It's very important, okay? Very important. Write that down.
At this point in my entire life, I ditched my old name and my old gender and became Penelope. All that loneliness, all that emptiness, it turned my life into a blank slate, basically. You know, the perfect arena for self-discovery. I had my channel, but that was basically the only thing that I decided to keep about myself post-transition. At my loneliest point, I figured out what clothes I like to wear, what types of people I like to date, how my voice sounds, how I feel about my parents, what my kinks are, who I can and can't be friends with, what my channel was going to be all about moving forward. Just so many things. It didn't take long before I was dating again, after like a year of being single and 4 years since I'd had a single relationship that didn't last for like a month before I gave up on it and broke up with the other person. Go watch my video, Honesty, if you want the most recent example of loneliness and emptiness leading to self-discovery like that. Out of all of that loneliness, that shit life I had acting as a fertilizer, a flower grew.
Oh, wow.
Into Flower Boy.
Oh, wow.
One of my favorite things about Tyler is how he's always talking about his friends. His old syndicate, Odd Future, had songs where people who didn't even rap came on just to do a verse just because they were his friends.
The only thing that would make this better is if Leadhead superimposed herself as like this guy in the background. That would make it so much better.
The Loiter Squad, Odd Future's old adult swim show, was all about Tyler and his friends just hanging out and having fun. Especially in those old Odd Future days, Tyler was completely inseparable from this friend group. The thing is, after Cherry Bomb came out, Odd Future, that massive friend group, was basically dead. I don't know if it had anything to do with all that talk of wanting to burn everything down and start over in Cherry Bomb, but thematically, it sure makes sense to me if Odd Future breaking up was a result of all that Cherry Bomb stuff.
Cool.
Listening to Flower Boy over and over and over again these last few days, I think you can really feel that same feeling I was talking about a minute ago. You really feel that emptiness, that loneliness, that boredom, and you feel that self-reflection and the self-discovery that comes from it. To me, that's what Flower Boy's all about. It's about being that flower that grows out of a pile of shit life.
Cool.
Nowhere in this album is that concept captured more clearly than the 12th track, November. It starts out as this contemplative, doubtful song talking about the fears Tyler's living with.
Stop playing copyright music in here. Stop.
The best times in their life. They're November. The music does this little twist where suddenly the sentimental, nostalgic vibe to the sounds turns into this dissonant, distressful beat, and Tyler sings about how badly he wishes he could go back to November, before we ultimately end on him rapping to a hypothetical love interest on the phone, talking about all the creative inspiration he's felt as these feelings welled up inside of him, as he was stuck in this lonely life, regretting ever letting it pass out. Like I said,
also, black pants and white socks. That's a no. That's a no from me, dog. That's a no from me, dog.
I think this is the clearest example of this idea I'm talking about here, where the lowest points in someone's life lead to the greatest self-discoveries and the greatest change.
Wow.
One of the cool things about working on these videos for me is that sometimes in the process of creating, I discover that my emotional connection to some piece of art goes deeper than I realized. Ironically, Flower Boy was always the Tyler album that I had the loosest emotional connection to. Every other album of his, I've always been able to tie very...
Paimon, I see that you redeemed Roast the person on stream for 5,000 points in Twitch chat. Thank you so much. I don't really even have a roast. We just are looking like King Henry VIII right now with these little knee-high knicker socks. Like, I'm really not liking that. This is also like Jeffrey Dahmer vibes right here. Like, if I saw this person, if I was walking alone at night and I saw this person, I would call the police immediately. Like, just sitting there with this face. Like, that's Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, I just want to take some pictures level shit. Like, I am afraid by proxy. Like, I am safe because I'm behind a screen, but I don't know. The chances of Leadhead being behind you are almost zero. Never zero, but almost zero, you know, and it's something to be concerned of.
Very directly to a particular point in my life, but I always had trouble feeling like this album was about me in the same way that his other albums have been. Well, after writing all this down, after spending these last few days...
I imagine the filming of this as well is like, she's getting pissed because the angles aren't hitting the way that she wants them to. So you know the Vine where like they're doing the color guard and the girl like drops the thing and the coach is like, Patricia! I imagine that she does that to Boy. She's like, Boy! More to the left! Like, in the middle of the night at a public park. That's what I imagine is happening. It makes me happy.
Listening to Flower Boy over and over again. I think I have an album that's about the year that I sobered up and started this channel, and all the loneliness that led me to those decisions. When I committed to making this video, I got these shoes. The original LaFleur 1 stars that Tyler created too.
Those look like they haven't been worn a day in your life.
Coincide with the release of this album. I really like the shoes and I really like Tyler and I wanted something cool to wear for this video, but the irony wasn't lost
really
on me
cool.
that these shoes were made to pair with my least favorite album of his. Oh. Now though, after writing all this down, I think they've taken on a new meaning for me. These shoes, for me, now represent one of my favorite things about myself. These shoes are a symbol of how I'm able to take a pile of shit and make a flower grow out of it.
Wow, cool.
I guess I already hinted at this a bit after I was talking about Cherry Bomb, but right now in my life, I'm staring at another great big pile of shit.
Okay,
All I
what's
can really
that?
do at a time like
Tell
this
me
is
about it.
introspect and hope that I can turn it into something
No,
beautiful.
you need to stop introspecting. You need to start seeking insight. I think one of my hottest takes is that post-COVID, everybody is way too self-interested. I think that we're in a vacuous period of hyper individuality, which is causing a decline and a decay in society. We're unable to take into consideration other people's perspectives, thoughts, feelings. We're all kind of just doing our own thing and focused exclusively on ourselves, and we've lost semblance of community, semblance of belonging, semblance of in real life connections. And COVID definitely accelerated this pretty significantly because everybody was inside all the time. It's not like oh my god, what do you mean? It's like very obviously everybody was very socially isolated for an extended period of time. And I think, truthfully, like one of the biggest problems that is plaguing society as a whole is people's insistence that they themselves have this divine knowledge about themselves that nobody else can access, even though you can very clearly draw very strong delineations about people's character based on the way that they behave. And people just stopped kind of seeking any kind of external understanding of themselves through other people because it's like, fuck you, you don't know me, you don't know my truth. And I think that that's cancer. I think that that's gay. And I think that's just really fucking sad because people have lost the ability to consult other people to kind of see what they're doing that's kind of, like weird or kind of taboo or whatever the fuck. Like, I want you to think about God's great year of like 2010. If there was somebody at your school, the great year of 2010, I don't know what year, 2010. I don't know, pretend you're in high school, I guess. Pretend you're in high school, like 10 years ago. I know all of you old bitches are in here. If it was God's great year of 2010 and somebody came to school with a dog collar on and walked on all fours and yipped, the social repercussions of behaving like that are to be ostracized by your peers, and therefore it stops you from acting like that. There's no social pushback for any of this bizarro freak behavior anymore. So now people are, freely like, oh my god, I want to fuck Pokemon. And everybody's like, live your truth. And it's like, that's something that you don't talk about in public. People have probably always wanted to fuck Pokemon. Let's be totally real. That's probably always been a phenomenon. But only recently have people felt comfortable talking about that kind of shit in public because it is not socially shunned. Because people find these gay little echo chambers and shit, mostly online, where they find it appropriate and acceptable to talk about all this shit in places that are not appropriate to talk about it. The West is falling before our very fucking eyes, and Leadhead is the catalyst for all of it. Soon, we will all be speaking Mandarin, and I cannot wait for that day to come. Save me, President, I don't know how to say his name because I'm dyslexic. President of China. It's Jingpai, right? I don't know how to say it. Don't kill me. I'm sorry.
It's kind of what I try to do with all my negative feelings in these videos. I just gotta hope that I can do what the musical outro on Flower Boy suggests and enjoy right now today. I guess making this video is my first step towards that. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this pile of shit I'm staring at than I was originally intending to. Frankly, I'm afraid of the consequences that might come up if I do talk about it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's crazy too is there was like a big phenomenon. I don't know if you guys remember this. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there was a lot of discourse a while ago about banning phones for kids in school, like in like high school, elementary school, middle school, shit like that. And people were like, they have to have phones. What if there's an emergency? What did we do in schools if there was an emergency before cell phones were fucking invented? They just all died? There's phones in the classrooms, and it's like, well, they have to have them. For what? So they can watch TikToks and shit? Phones have ruined everyone's life. And I am just as much susceptible to propaganda as everybody else in the room, okay? I also love my phone, okay? Everybody does. But let's not pretend that it's a good idea to give like a 4-year-old an iPhone. Let's not pretend that that's a good idea. Let's not pretend that it's normal for, your 8-year-old to try to kill themselves if you take their iPad away. Let's not pretend that that's normal, because it's not. It's not at all. Like, I don't know what to say.
And I'm afraid of I'm afraid. But I don't think this video is going to feel complete if I don't talk about this. But to do that, we're going to have to move on to the next album. So, I'll see you in a minute.
See you in a minute, babe. Yep, yep. See you soon. Woof, woof. Next section. I'm going to make myself feel really old right here. So when I was younger, we had walkie-talkies. So if we went to go and play with another kid in the neighborhood, we took a walkie-talkie. And then I think the first phone that I ever got, it was like a little brick and it had the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 was to call my mom, 2 was to call my dad, 3 was to call my grandparents, and then 4 was to call my like other set of grandparents, and then there was the emergency button, and that was it. And that's how I got a hold of like my family. Or even if I went to somebody else's house to like go and play, I would just use the landline and like call my parents on the landline and be like, yo, I'm at Timmy's house or whatever, I made it. What time do you want me to come home? And they'd say, you know, come home at, I don't know, like 6 o'clock. I say, okay, whatever. You know, like 5:45. Oh, call mom and dad. Hey, we're in the middle of doing something. Can I actually come home at like 6:30? I'll be done in like a half an hour. Yeah, cool, whatever. Like, I don't need to like text and like Snapchat my fucking parents. We had phones. We didn't even really have phones in school. We had, the big problem when I was in school was like iPods and shit like that, because you used to have the wired headphones and you'd run it up the sleeve of your shirt and you'd put the little pod in your hand and you'd lean on your hand like this and you could listen to music. Good times to be young. But there's really not a reason in the entire fucking world that you need to have a cell phone for you to be like, this is my emotional support TikTok reel. No, it's not. Put your fucking phone away. Like, I had said that if I was a teacher, it would be like, if you want participation points, like if you want today to count towards your grade, your phone goes in this little basket. Otherwise, you are marked as tardy from my class. If I was a teacher, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And then everybody was like, Malcolm, you're basically Hitler. ACAB includes Malcolm's school takes. And I was like, all right, you guys got me. You guys win with your woke shit.
I got a bit of an ego on me. If I make a bad judgment call or do something wrong, I'll own up to it. But when it comes to subjective things, matters of opinion, I'm the most stubborn bitch on the planet. If someone corrects me on something that I did wrong, you know, it's whatever. But if somebody whose opinion I care about says that they disagree with me on something, I will sit there and debate them for hours and hours and hours. To be honest, I'm just not a humble person.
That's very healthy.
I've got my self-esteem issues like everyone else, but I tend to trust my own judgment on just about everything, whether I have any experience.
I don't know. Again, we could be doing a little bit of insight here. Or excuse me, introspection, especially as, I think that Leadhead is what, like 25, 26? You're still pretty dumb. You're still pretty young and dumb. Like, I don't know. I'm being a hater.
Experience or expertise on the subject or not. In and of itself, that's totally fine. It's a good thing even. It means I'm self-sufficient and I'm not afraid to just put myself in unfamiliar situations and learn as I go. Which it's the whole reason I can do this job, to be honest. As long as I'm not an asshole saying to people things like, oh, you're wrong to feel that way, it's fine, right? As long as I'm not talking over the people in my life or ignoring their thoughts and concerns, I'm still a good person, even if I have a big ego. Well, it gets a little bit more complicated when you start considering my own mental health. Back in those early days I was talking about in the last chapter, I'd always be coming back to the phrase, I'm my own best friend. Sounds like a positive mental health thing, right? Well, the issue is that if I'm my own best friend, nobody else can be my best friend. I use that phrase to...
Wrong? You can have more than one best friend. And this is another thing, too. When you get older, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, when you get older, like, the idea of a best friend isn't really true that much, just because like you have different relationships with different adults in your life. One of my oldest friends, I haven't seen. I saw last year, and then before that, I think I saw her in. God, what year would that have been? It was before COVID. 2019 or 2018 was the last time that I saw her. And her husband at the time, I think, was in the military. I don't know if they were married or not, but she was like traveling all over the world with him. And she's still, to this day, one of my closest friends. But I hardly ever talk to her because she's like out doing her life. Or, you know, like I have a lot of friends that I talk to maybe once a month, but I still consider them very good friends and very close friends. But that's what happens when you're like a normal adult, is like everybody has their own shit to do. Like, I'm not mad if somebody doesn't text me back the fucking second that I send them a text message, because it's like people have jobs, people have, you know, a lot of people are having kids, you know, you have your own shit going on. I think that the idea of a quote unquote best friend kind of goes away when you get older, just because everybody has, you just have a different kind of relationship with the people in your life because everybody has their own shit to do. That's like kind of normal, right?
Cope with my isolation. But now, years later, now that I have a healthier social life, all that logic does is just isolate me more. Very, very often, I feel like people are misunderstanding me because they disagree with me. I catch myself thinking shit like, God, if only I could just explain my perspective better, you'd realize that I'm right about this thing.
Oh, that's the RGR brain right there. That's the RGR brain. If I could just explain myself well enough, you would agree with me. It's like, sometimes people just disagree, girly pop, and that's okay.
I know that shit is incredibly toxic, so I keep it to myself, but it's something that's happening in my own head with just about everybody in my life at one point or another. Maybe I'm a narcissist, I don't know.
Yeah, you probably are.
Because I've got this voice in my head constantly assuring me that I'm right, but I know that it's toxic to always assume that I'm right, I've got to just sit there and be stoic about it the whole time. And stoicism fucking hurts. Enter Igor. Tyler's 6th album is a story about this bi-curious man cheating on his girlfriend with Tyler, realizing that he'd rather stay committed to his girlfriend and just being tormented by Tyler's insistence that the guy must be in love with him and not his girlfriend, and that him choosing to go back to her is just him being ashamed of being gay. But that's not really the story as it's told. The whole thing is told from Tyler's perspective, which is just, I helped this guy realize he's gay, and now he's just repressing it and running away from me, even though I know I love him and he loves me. It's an incredibly...
Isn't that Lil Nas X? Isn't that what that is?
...human story. Back in high school, I put the guy who gave me my first gay experience
Call
through
me
basically
by
the same
your
thing.
name.
Ultimately choosing to end the break that I was on with my girlfriend.
Tell me you love me in private. Call me by your name.
Oh, and
No?
so people don't think I'm contradicting myself from the previous chapter. I'll clarify now that the relationship with my girlfriend didn't last much longer than that. They rarely do, and a couple decided to go on break, but I digress.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird to talk about an album like Igor. See, I have literally no idea if this album is based on a true story that Tyler went through, or put somebody through to be more accurate. And the same's true for the next album, Call Me If You Get Lost. In both cases, if these are real things that happened to Tyler, I'm essentially going to be out here analyzing and giving my perspective on some super personal, heartbreaking things that happened to another human being, a complete stranger. I don't really like that idea, like at all, but the simple fact is that anybody who's paying attention to these albums is already doing that in their own head. Based on what all is said in the next album, Call Me If You Get Lost, I'm inclined to believe that Igor is a fictional story, all about the darkest thoughts that Tyler was having during a different romantic situation, but whatever, let's just get on with it. Igor is ultimately 32 minutes of Tyler begging this guy that he hooked up with to realize that he's lying to himself and that Tyler's right about the two of them belonging together, followed by 8 minutes of apologizing and realizing that their friendship is never going to be the same after he showed how possessive and manipulative he can be when it comes to love. Tyler, in this album, is, like me, so sure that if he could just find the right words to say, this guy would realize that he actually agrees with Tyler and that he actually doesn't love his girlfriend and that he's gay. Listen to this.
Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I can't. Dude, we're gonna have to listen to dubstep music after this because I'm already gonna get fucked because I'm not gonna be able to monetize this because this dumb bitch keeps playing copyright music in this video. Her coming out story is coming in. It's going to contradict. Wow, I can't wait.
Their hookup. This song's sparse lyrics are, to me, a double entendre. We've got two ways of looking at it. First off, lines like, he's coming, riding around town, they're gonna feel this one, and got my eyes open, sound like, oh, Tyler's back and he's about to drop an album that people are really gonna emotionally connect with, because he's realized some things that he thinks are profound.
Cool.
Alternately, we can read this as Tyler's interpretation of the sex. Maybe he's coming literally means he's coming, and riding around town, they're gonna feel this one, and got my eyes open refers to Tyler feeling like, wow, that sex was amazing, this guy must have felt it too, and now has his eyes open too, realizing that he's gay.
Oh, wow.
Moving forward to Earthquake, this one is pretty blatantly just Tyler talking with this guy after the sex, saying, that was incredible, I think I love you and I know you love me too, so are you going to break up with your girlfriend and stay with me or not? We get the guy's perspective on it all, with him just saying that he's got super strong feelings about Tyler and he's feeling really conflicted about the feelings he has for his girlfriend.
Please stop.
But I think it's safe to say that this is
That's me. Wait, hang on, that's a video of me. Did you guys see that?
Famous white Instagram model.
That's me.
Who caught a pretty huge controversy after using the N-word, but I think it's safe to say that this is an unreliable narrator situation where...
Wait, is Leadhead gonna say that she says the N-word? We have to know, you guys. Does she say the N-word when she sings her Tyler songs? I have to know. Somebody, guys, this is really important. We can't continue until I know the answer to this question. Has she been given the pass and does she use it? I have to know.
What we hear here isn't the guy's actual thoughts, rather what Tyler is projecting onto him after that magical sex. Anyways, moving forward in the song, we get Tyler's perspective, where he really just wants an answer from this guy on whether or not they're going to stay together after the hookup. Play it.
It's true. It's just like, I feel like Jar sometimes. Like when Jar was like, everybody's on the verge of getting canceled. Like, what if you just like yell the N-word? True. That is something that I worry about all the time. I'm like, what if I just said it? What if I did? That's... Wow, I'm on the verge. Like, that happens all the time. I always just randomly say it. Like, yep, I'm very scared of that. That's a very reasonable thing to be worried about. Totally, yeah.
Here on, we can take a step back and not analyze every individual song quite so closely. We get Tyler now starting to lose his connection with this guy, realizing that he really is just straight up in love.
Please stop.
Or lose Tyler. Okay, last one for a sec.
Take your mask off. I need out the picture.
Dude, stop.
He is, hence that line about my eyes are green, I eat my veggies. He's green with envy. Anyways, it's a song about how badly he wants to just make this girl disappear, even going into violent threats about how he's willing to kill her to make it happen.
right, Marshall Mathers, let's go.
Back in the day are edgy shit about how he wants to kidnap various girls he's in love with so that he can force them to love him back. Back then it felt like edgy dark vibes. If you want to attach a horrible, horrible phrase to it, call it school shooter core aesthetics. All of that edgy talk about kidnapping girls and killing their new boyfriends just felt like it was part of the aesthetics of the album, more than something that you should really take seriously.
This is a strong message. Killing women is aesthetic, I agree.
Likewise, here in New Magic Wand, I don't think we're really meant to interpret this as, oh wow, Tyler needs to be locked up because he's literally planning a murder. Instead, I read it as something scarily relatable. You can't just kill people, and Tyler knows.
Something that is scarily relatable, that you can't just kill people. What? Why is that relatable? Why is that relatable? God, guys, doesn't it just suck that you can't kill fucking everyone? What? Dude, what? What?
Knows that. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just wishes that this girl would disappear because even thinking about the two of them together hurts so much for him. I've been there. Granted, I'm fortunate enough to have not been there since high school, but you bet your ass I've had people in my life that I wish would just stop existing because I had some passionate feelings for the person that they were dating.
I just want to, like, kill everybody that's dating my crush. Elliot Roger, welcome back? What? What? What?
Shit, one time I found out that somebody I knew secretly wished that the girl who is now my wife would have killed herself so that she could be with me. That, sure...
What? She wished that she would kill herself so that she could be... What? If she was dead, how could she be with you? Leadhead! Leadhead, explain! What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What does she mean? What does she mean, bro? What does she mean, bro? What is happening right now?
Hell is not a healthy way to be thinking, but man, humans can absolutely be pushed there by jealousy, and as comfortable as it is to think about, Tyler's willingness to talk about and really examine intrusive thoughts like this is part of why I love him, and why I consider him to be the most honest artist out there.
He's so honest. Dude, she would love Mr. Girl. She would love Mr. Girl. Has she ever seen Mr. Girl content? She would love him. Oh, wow.
Anyways, as the album progresses, we go back and forth between "you're dangerous, stay the fuck away from me, I'm gonna tell your girlfriend that you cheated on her," and "sorry I got mad, can we please talk about it?" Until eventually we end up at the acceptance song, "Thank You," in which Tyler acknowledges that he's never gonna get to be with this guy and wishes that he could just stop falling in love altogether. Ultimately, we end on "Are We Still Friends?", where Tyler's apologized for being so possessive and manipulative and for trying to convince this guy that he knows what's in his heart better than he does, and just asks if they're still friends. To which, as anybody who's been in a similar situation will know, the answer is probably no. Then, like Cherry Bomb, we get another musical loop. You can't really play it smoothly on a record player since you'd have to flip the record, but just pull out your phone and put the album on repeat and play it.
Oh, I see. We brought our entire record player to the junkyard. Wow. Okay.
Well.
And she's not even playing the record, she's playing... Oh! Tell me.
Isn't the root note of the song, so the album ends on an unresolved harmony. Then the first note of the album, that droning noise that we started on, resolves the melody, implying again, like Cherry Bomb, that this album's story is cyclical. Not only is Tyler unable to complete...
I can't stop thinking about, Joan Jett. Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad. Cherry Bomb. That's like all I can think of. Sorry. White woman alert. Sorry, guys.
Completely bury his feelings for this guy, but if you want to look at it in a little bit more meta of a way, now he's going to be caught up trying to convince this guy that he's wrong for feeling like they can't be friends anymore. The first time you listen to the album, it's about Tyler thinking that the only reason that this guy didn't choose him over his girlfriend is because he's lying to himself, and how Tyler thinks that he knows this guy better than he does. Once the album repeats, albeit in a less direct way, it kind of becomes an album about how Tyler thinks that the only reason that this guy won't accept his apology is because he's lying to himself, and how Tyler knows better than he does what he feels. The same thing, but with a different context. Throughout the entire album, Tyler says over and over and over again that this guy is in total control of him. That's why the album is called Igor. Igor was a name used for...
Nervously pulls at my puppy collar.
Archetypical character in a lot of old horror movies, a hunchback assistant to the evil antagonist. So the guy is basically Dracula, and Tyler's just the thoughtless assistant that helps in his evil plans, with no agency of his own. The irony, then, is that he spends the entire album trying to manipulate and control this guy's emotions. Emotionally manipulative people...
I don't know much about Tyler, the Creator, at all. I listen to dubstep, mostly, and, like, dubstep and, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, alternative music. That's, like, the two big... Also love a little country music from time to time. Curse Malcolm lore. I do enjoy a good Blake Shelton song. I really do. Really, really do. Luke Bryan as well. Every once in a while. Not religiously, but every once in a while I just feel like country boy, I love you. You know, just every once in a while. As a treat.
People kind of love to act like they're the ones being manipulated. Throughout the entire album, Tyler's talking about how badly he was hurt when that could not possibly compare to the hurt feelings that this guy's girlfriend would feel if she knew about this whole situation. It'd be really easy to condemn Tyler for all of this if the album's a true story. Yeah, he's in love, yeah, his heart was broken, but he's kind of the scumbag of this story throughout the entire album. Maybe even more than the guy who cheated on his girlfriend with him. That's why when I initially introduced the story of this album, I told it from the guy's perspective before switching to Tyler's.
Cool.
Really though,
Thanks for letting us know.
I can't condemn Tyler for all of
Very postmodern. Thank you for letting us know.
this any more than I can condemn myself for the things that I've done at my lowest points, like with those girls that I'd simmed for back in early high school. I would argue that if these are in fact true events, Tyler couldn't possibly have made such a beautiful and self-reflective and self-critical album like this unless he realized that he was one of the bad guys in the story. For a little advice though, if you find yourself in a situation like this, so convinced that you would be a perfect partner for someone who isn't interested in you like that, just know that it's okay and we've all been there, but maybe ask yourself why you want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you. I'm of the ever-controversial opinion that it's impossible to truly fall in love with somebody who doesn't love you back. You might think that you're in love with them, you might be convinced that you could.
I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's true. Would you say that women who are beat by their husbands, do you think that like those women don't love that man or didn't love that man at one point? Like, I don't know. This is all kind of boring. Hopefully we change scenes here soon. I'm kind of stagnating in my interest. I'm kind of losing steam. Let's see.
Fall in love with them. Maybe you just love the idea of them that you've created in your head, but love kind of has to be fostered mutually. You'll never really be able to know if someone is a good match for you until they're sharing in that same vulnerability that you're willing to share with them.
Wow.
I know that this kind of makes true love sound like a paradoxical situation, but it can happen when two people's energies just match. If your love isn't being reciprocated, take a step back and ask yourself what exactly it is you're expecting to change if you two wind up together. If the answer is just more sex and more romantic bonding, you can get that.
Ooh, that's really interesting because isn't that quite literally what happened to Leadhead? Isn't that quite literally what that was? I love my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, but I just can't stop fucking other bitches. If you're looking for just more sex, you're not going to be happy. Curious. Okay.
Stuff from just about anybody, not just the person that you're after. Back to the album. That friendship between Tyler and his love interest had to end. You just cannot be friends with somebody who had feelings that strong for you and who was that willing to emotionally torment you over those feelings. There was this girl a few years back. She was like my best friend. One of those people who I felt like...
I've listened to Tyler, the Creator's music before. I just don't like religiously listen to it. Like, I have a lot of his music on like my general playlist, you know? So like if I shuffle and it comes on, I'll listen to it, but I'm not like seeking it out. Like, I've listened to his music and I think it's fine. Listen, I have a variety of tastes, okay? A variety of tastes.
Like, could see and understand sides of me that hardly anybody else had ever been able to. After a while, though, she started trying to get between my girlfriend and I. I didn't recognize the problem fast enough, and it got worse and worse until eventually my only real option was just cold cut her out of my life. Just like an Igor. Like I said earlier, Igor. I later found out that she was secretly hoping my girlfriend would kill herself so she could be with me.
Oh, I understand. Now I get it. She wanted the girlfriend to kill herself so then she could date Leadhead. Got it. Okay.
Really, really bad situation. Looking back on it, she was seriously trying to get in my head, drawing these insane conclusions about my relationship and the type of person that my girlfriend was, basically trying to gaslight me into not wanting to be with the most perfect person.
Gaslight? Oh no.
The woman who's now my wife.
Wow.
Hoping that I'd break up with her. I'm not going to pretend that I was a hapless victim in all of this. You can go watch my video Honesty if you want more of the story, but for my part...
Oh, so this is the girl that she cheated on her wife with. Or her girlfriend at the time. Ah, okay. So she cheated on her girlfriend with this girl, and this girl was like super in love with her, and she was like, I hope that your girlfriend kills herself so we can be together. And then she was like, oh my god, like, I just couldn't believe it. Like, how could you really ever truly love if that's how you feel? You willfully and excitedly participated in that. Actually. So, I don't know, maybe look in the mirror there, bud.
Purposes, she was basically doing the Igor thing. Like I said, ultimately, I just had to cut her out of my life.
But then she said that her and Amber, or Allison, I don't remember her fucking name. Her and Amber, I guess. Alice? I don't know. Her and Amber, Alicia Keys ended up being friends again. Why is it different in this video? In the other video, she had said that they all ended up being friends again. What the fuck?
Then, a few months after all this happened, Tyler released his next album.
Well, and then Tyler released his album, and it was about you. Yeah. Cool.
What the fuck? Well, it turns out that Igor had a pretty strong resemblance to something going on in my life. Call me if you get lost.
Is this boy and girl? This is boy and girl, I assume. This is horrifying. This is horrifying. This is not. I don't like this. I don't. That's all I can really say right now is that I don't like this. I don't like it.
Lost was the first album of Tyler's that I felt had a downright uncanny resemblance. This one tells a very similar story to Igor, but with a few differences. Instead of anger and emotional manipulation, this time when Tyler developed feelings for somebody who already had a partner, he handled it a lot more maturely, with a lot less, I know you'd rather be with me, so quit lying to yourself, and a lot more, I'm sorry we didn't meet each other at the right time. I think we would have been happy together, but I recognize that I need to give you your space. I wish things could have been different between us, but just know that I'm always going to care about you.
Love you, baby.
And a lot more coping.
Wow.
Something that Tyler's been doing ever since Around Wolf came out is a thing that I like to call flex coping. Notice how many of these stories revolve around the central premise of I have everything I could ever want except for the one thing I want the most. Whether that one thing is a love interest or solitude or creative fulfillment or friends, there's a lot of I'm depressed as fuck but I just bought my third McLaren in Tyler's music.
Okay.
Usually this is paired with a little bit of self-awareness, but Call Me If You Get Lost seems to be Tyler's first album that's a full-blown examination of this flex coping habit of his. There was a pretty prominent theme in Flower Boy too, but DJ Drama, the shouting hype man that follows Tyler throughout the whole album, really brings that concept to the forefront.
Okay.
Listen to how DJ Drama is used to almost distract from Tyler's depression.
Wow, not the N-word. Come on.
I tried to tell y'all.
Journey over this album. Listen here how he asked Drama to turn the music up once he starts getting too depressed to keep going.
Why don't you just stop doing that?
Hyping everything up felt really out of place in such a somber, introspective album about giving up on love. But as usual for Tyler, that juxtaposition, that contrast was kind of the whole point. The album is all about Tyler being in love with this girl who's already in a relationship and having an incredibly hard time ignoring the chemistry that the two of them have. Rather than spending the whole album frustratedly trying to convince her to be with him, as he did in Igor, this album's a lot more internal and revolves around him learning to accept that even though it's so clear to him what a happy life with this girl would look like, he just can't change reality like that. All he can do is take solace in the things that he does have and try to move on. The album has all this hype music that feels like it's just trying to cover up the sadness and feelings of defeat. Hence, flex coping. Call Me If You Get Lost spends a lot of its runtime in this place. It's got more of those hype-sounding, high-energy songs that are usually Tyler's biggest hits. More horns, more rapping, more features.
Horns.
It sounds a lot more like a traditional rap album than anything Tyler's made since Wolf in a lot of ways.
Wow,
I once showed this album to a girl who wasn't really familiar with rap music, and she said that it sounded generic and not like the creative, expressive masterpiece I led her to expect with all my talk of Tyler being this visionary creator.
Wow, that's really
Unfortunately,
sad.
mindless flexing is kind of what most non-rap listeners think that the genre is all about. So when that same flexing is done with the ironic twist of the album being about using your money and status to try and run away from heartbreak, it
just stop being a pussy and talk about.
What?
Okay, look, y'all already understand what I'm trying to go on about. Let's
What?
address the elephant.
Stop being a pussy. Just start talking about rape. Is that what he said? What is happening? I don't like this. I don't like this. It's too confusing. There's too much going on. Guards, please kill me.
In the room and talk about the girl. I've kind of been talking about her here and there throughout the entire video, and in a lot of ways she's been the plot of this video. Like I said a couple minutes ago, she tried to get between my girlfriend and I until eventually I just had to cut her off. And
Yeah, okay, she got between your legs. That was the problem. What? Why is she doing this? The reason that they... You guys, the reason there was a problem is because she was cheating on her girlfriend with this bitch. That was the problem. Oh, she was so crazy. No, girl, you were an adulterous whore. Yes. Have you ever seen Obsessed with Idris Elba and Beyonce and All-Star Ali Larder? That's like the whole plot of the movie. Yes, bitches be crazy. But you invited the crazy. You opened the door. Oh my god. Crash out, crash out, crash out, crash out.
in the friendship, and then this album came out. After a while, though, her and I became friends again. Eventually, I was convinced that she had grown in the same ways that I had, and I reached out to her. We met up and apologized for everything. Her for being all Machiavellian and trying to gaslight me about my relationship.
Machiavellian.
Me for not being more clear about the fact that I never had feelings like that for her, and for having to cut off such an important friendship and just leave her hurting like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why I did it, though. Why I ended the friendship after such a messy falling out.
Because Tyler, the creator, said so.
Was part of it, but another part, a frankly huge part, was Call Me If You Get Lost. I had this...
Wow, I didn't even pre-watch. It's true. The reason that I mended the broken and disheveled relationships in my life is because of the new Tyler, the Creator album. How are you not embarrassed? Are you not ashamed? The reason that I made all these big changes in my life is because of a rap album that came out recently. Is your life so fucking dull and boring and everything is so insignificant and distant that you're so emotionally numb from pretending to be a puppy all fucking day that you can't have an original thought? You can only be inspired by, like, a rap album? Dude, you're gonna lose your shit if you read the Bible. Oh my god. What the fuck is happening? What is this video?
profound emotional connection to every Tyler album that came out before, feeling like each and every one of them was, in one way or another, basically just written about my life. But Call Me If You Get Lost is first.
That song, My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, little known hit, you know, that one. Not a lot of people have heard of it. That was actually about my life. My life was the inspiration for that album, actually. It's quite interesting. Yeah, I just thought I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought that you would really like that little nugget of information that's actually about my life. So, cool.
First album that didn't really do that for me when it came out. I didn't relate to the story. There have been people I was head over heels for in the past, but I'd never been in a situation where I thought that those people must have secretly had feelings for me too, but they just couldn't act on them. No, unlike every other Tyler album, which I related to so heavily, this album felt like it was written about her. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel, like Tyler on this album, felt this insane romantic chemistry between the two of us that I just couldn't relate to.
She literally name drops her in the other fucking video. Why can't she just say her name? Her name is like Amber, isn't it? Amber? Or it's an A name. I don't know. She comes off as a blank slate who has no emotional regulation, is beholden to the most recent media she consumed. No, it's very obvious that we have like a very shallow sense of self. Very BPD coded. It's like, what do you mean you listen to a rap album and you change your entire personality to fit the theme of the rap album? It's like, if I gave her a Rush Limbaugh book to read, would she become a conservative? Like, if I picked her up and dropped her off in like one of the most racist places in the country and she stayed there for a week, would she suddenly become like, do you not have any sense of self outside of what you think is performatively cool? I don't understand this archetype of human being. I listened to one song by Lady Gaga and I decided to be gay. Okay.
Looking back on it now, it seems to me like it was so clear, so obvious to her.
It is Ashley? Is that what I said? I was saying Amber. Ashley, sorry.
Her that we belonged together, and so she assumed that I was right there with her and wanted to be with her too. She assumed that me breaking up with my girlfriend and getting with her would make me happier too. I guess it was just one of those things where...
Well, yeah, if you're stepping out on somebody, you would assume that they're not happy in their relationship now. Like, if somebody... Like, if I pretend that I'm single and I'm hooking up with somebody and then it turns out that they're in a relationship with somebody, like they're married, but they're stepping out with me, I would assume that you're not very happy in your relationship if you're willing to step out on your relationship to like hook up with me, right? That seems like a fair assumption, no? Like, I don't think necessarily that like people that are satisfied in their relationship are cheating. Whether that's sexually, emotionally, romantically, whatever, you know, spin the wheel, whatever kind of deficit you're experiencing in your relationship, you don't normally just cheat because... Right? Why do the people that have like the most juvenile understanding of intimate relationships talk about this kind of stuff? Because this is like an 18-year-old's understanding of like relationship dynamics. It's incredible. Like, you are so socially stunted. I have no idea how you've lived this long in your life. It's so bizarre. How bizarre. I'm gonna start a Patreon, and my Patreon is gonna be dating, life, and financial advice. You know, for like $20 a month, you can DM me up to X amount of times a day, and I will fix all your fucking problems for you, because this is insane. This is insane.
You lie to yourself because the lie sounds prettier than reality, and then after a bit, confirmation bias kicks in, and you start believing your own lies.
Wow.
Knowing what I know now about Rachel, me ever letting her back into my life feels so fucking stupid. But let's get back on track and talk through what I think is the defining pair of songs in this.
Anyway, back to Tyler, the Creator, guys.
And Wilshire, and how those two songs
enough talking about how I'm an adulterous whore. Let's get back to Tyler, the Creator.
Textualized everything that happened between Rachel and I, and made me start to look at her with more empathy than I was able to at the time, amidst all the anger and betrayal that I felt towards her when I got her out of my life. I Thought You Wanted to Dance starts out with this really, really sweet love song about how perfect this girl is and how happy Tyler is to spend his time with her, and then halfway through it switches to this grim, defeated vibe talking about how utterly blindsided Tyler is by the fact that she's committed to her relationship and isn't going to break up with her boyfriend to try things out with Tyler. Tyler's just genuinely confused by the fact that they aren't a couple. It's a personally painful song for me to listen to, because I just know that must have been exactly how Rachel felt about me. I didn't feel that romantic chemistry at all, but she felt it so strongly that it seemed as fundamental and obvious to her as the sky being blue. That's the really emotional version of the story. A couple tracks later, we get Wilshire, a song that doesn't really sound like anything Tyler's made before. It's just this simple beat that totally gets out of the way of the lyrics, and like 8 minutes straight of really slow, monotone, and straight to the point rapping, where Tyler just tells the entire story exactly as it happened, with all the emotional weight of I Thought You Wanted to Dance just removed, so as to not muddy up the story with any...
I mean, great point. I mean, Leadhead did feel anger and betrayal because she decided to be an adulterous whore in the relationship. Very true. Whenever I step out of my committed relationships, I feel betrayed. Very much so. Very much so. I completely agree. Well, relationship and dating advice. I should do that for my Patreon, you guys. I should do like life coaching on the side. I think that I should just start doing that because, like, Jesus Christ, everybody that you guys go to for relationship advice on the internet are people like this who are like, the best way to have a happy, loving, healthy relationship is to be a puppy girl, and I'm like, you're insane.
Bias or romanticization. See, that's the part that got me here, the lack of romanticization. With Igor, it's pretty easy to listen to that album and come away feeling like all the talk of the love interest knowing in his heart that he'd rather be with Tyler is just Tyler's twisted own perception of the situation, and that the guy actually is just happier with his girlfriend. I was ready to talk about a similar situation with this song right here, but everything that's described in this song, and by extension the rest of the album, doesn't feel like an unreliable narrator situation. It feels like Tyler and this girl actually had that crazy chemistry, but it was just bad timing because she also had those feelings about her boyfriend. That isn't how it went down with Rachel and I. With us, it really was this insanely strong romantic connection that one of us felt, but that just wasn't.
Why is Ashley the hardest name in the world for me to remember? Ashley. Not Amber. Ashley. What the fuck?
There at all for the other. That's the mistake I made when I related this album to her so much. I should have realized that she was being more like Igor, but I assumed that it was this more mature, morally gray situation that's described in Call Me If You Get Lost. I shouldn't have let Rachel back into my life. I know that now. I'm gonna get into why that is in a moment, the recent revelations that made it so clear to me that I never should have trusted her again. But Wilshire does something that I really appreciate, which is a little bit hard not to fixate on as I write this. After Tyler's done rapping at the end of the song, he just talks directly for a moment, talking about how he's so scared to put this song, and by extension this album, out there. How the situation was so hugely foundational to him, but now, to his fans, it's just another story. Every time Tyler goes through something horrible, or does something horrible, and learns some huge life lesson, and decides to share that wisdom with his audience, to a certain group of people in his fan base, all it means is that it's just time to make another page on the WGKTA wiki. This human being, through his honesty, turned his own life into a saga for unempathetic fans to gawk at. That same shit happens to me all the time.
Oh my god, I was just about to say this is about her. It's true. People gawk at this because, like, it's violently uncomfortable. Like, the thing is like there is a creative process with a lot of people that like express themselves through music. Just recording yourself yapping in the backseat of a car like an amateur film student is not the same thing. Like, you can tell a very beautiful poetic story through visual storytelling, you know, videos, poems, all this other shit. Just sitting here and fucking trauma dumping on your channel that used to be dedicated to like normal ass fucking content is quite jarring for a lot of people. It's quite jarring, yeah?
I'll make a video about, for example, me coming to terms with the relationship that I have with my mother, and most people really
Good night, Novel. I love you.
appreciate the introspection, but to a select handful of no lives that's just fuel for reaction content or arguments and comments about whether or not I'm a good daughter, like any of them really know anything about my life, besides the little vignettes I find the time and the words to share. They completely miss the point of my honesty and my openness and turn my life's passion into some dumbass meme.
It is a dumb meme.
Tyler having issues with relinquishing his privacy isn't anything new, and God knows that it's something I relate to a lot, but this little outro at the end of Wilshire really made me reflect on that a lot.
Wow. You're just gonna leave him to sleep in the car? Oh, okay. Alright, I suppose. Sure. Do you think she put so much of Tyler, the Creator's music in this so people wouldn't react to it? Do you think that's why? Oh my god.
Over the course of planning and writing this video, one of the biggest points of contention for me has been how much of my story I'm really willing to share and tell here. I've never really had a problem with being open and honest about my life on the channel, especially when it comes to the things I've done wrong in my life. Regular viewers already know enough about me to know that I used to be a massive piece of shit, and not even that long ago in the grand scheme of things. All that stuff is information that I volunteered freely because I thought maybe y'all could learn a lesson from my mistakes, and I could turn all that negativity and all that hurt into some sort of positive impact. Tyler does the same thing, especially on Igor and the next album.
Wow, I'm just like Tyler, the Creator. True.
Yeah, he's got no issue with talking about how he's kind of a bad person in a few specific ways, and I'd like to think that I don't have an issue doing that either. It's a good thing when I do it, and it's a good thing when Tyler does it. The world becomes just a slightly better place in some small, minute way when we're open and honest about our flaws and mistakes and the ways that we're trying to fix them. But man, if you suffer from anxiety as extreme as mine, thinking about all of these people who don't know anything about you, but knowing so many little things about my life, it's really stressful. Seeing people discuss my life like they've got the grounds to say anything about what goes on when the camera's turned off, it's sickening, to be completely honest. That's the only word I have for it.
That's like that. Welcome to the internet. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Like, you choose what to put on the internet. Like, if there's something that you don't want critiqued by other people, then don't talk about it. Like, that's, and again, I'm not saying, like, never talk about your feelings, never talk about your struggles, never talk about your strife, but, like, again, this is the chronic problem of, like, know your audience kind of thing, and some things can be kept, like, as a private thing in your personal life, right? Like, I could come on stream and talk about all of my struggles, all of my trials and tribulations in life, everything that I've had a hard time with, all the most traumatic things that have ever happened to me. And then that opens the door for everybody to talk about those things and criticize them. Because if I stand on the sidewalk of a street and I say, I think mozzarella sticks are gay, people are going to respond to what I just said. But if I save that conversation about my very strong feelings about mozzarella sticks, you know, in appropriate settings and circles, like, then it doesn't matter. Like, you're not entitled to, like, a positive reception to you talking about things, and people are going to disagree with things that you say. Like, that's just part of existing as not only as a human being, but, like, that's how you navigate being online. Is that if I post something on twitter.com, people are going to respond to it and give their opinions to what I just said. That's going to happen, whether I like it or not. And if I don't want people's opinions or criticisms or thoughts or feelings on my opinions, I just share them interpersonally. I don't get a megaphone and then complain when everybody's yelling back at me with a megaphone. I don't understand.
The ironic thing is that I've got no issue talking about it when I made a mistake, and I want to share my stories of personal growth, but in a situation like this one, like the one I'm still trying to push myself to talk about today, where I'm the victim, it's so hard to not censor myself. This is like the most frustrated that I've ever been with a video. The shit that Rachel has done to me and my loved ones, and the time that I've known her.
This is a total 180 from the honesty video, because in the honesty video, she was like a little bit more transparent about her direct involvement with the shit with Ashley or whatever, right? This makes it seem like it was all Ashley's fault. But again, if you're in a happy relationship, why are you stepping out? I don't understand.
The things that I've forgiven her for, the second chances I've given her, the times that I thought she learned her lesson just for her to go and hurt more people that I care about. It's all really raw for me. It's so hard for me to convince myself that I'm allowed to talk about it.
It's raw!
She's already got a history of lying about me to other people, and just the thought of her seeing this video just makes me so incredibly...
Then don't do it! I don't understand. If I was like, oh my god, I just came on stream and I complained about this bitch that I hate more than anything in the whole world, okay? I came on stream and there was this girl in 2nd grade and she said something really mean to me, and I'm gonna make this whole ass YouTube video about it, and then I'm like, God, the thought of her seeing this and responding to it makes me want to fucking die. It's like, well, then why make a YouTube video about it in the first place? I don't understand.
Called The Estate Sale. I didn't really think that it had much to do with the plot of Call Me If You Get Lost, so I decided to be a purist about it and treat them as two separate albums.
Wow, big mistake, obviously.
But now I see that The Estate Sale was almost sort of foreshadowing what all Tyler was going to be trying to do with the next album, Chromakopia. Just like Chromakopia, The Estate Sale is all about acceptance, and more specifically, finding happiness, like real happiness, not just hope, amidst all these heartbreaking circumstances that Tyler's always talking about in his albums. Chromakopia really feels like an album that's kind of like the end of Tyler's story. Sort of like how Wolf was the end of the Bastard and Goblin story, Chromakopia feels like the conclusion to everything that's been building up in Cherry Bomb, Flower Boy, Igor, and Call Me If You Get Lost. Shit, in a lot of ways, it actually feels like a new conclusion to Goblin, Bastard, and Wolf, too.
Wow.
I'm sure there'll be more albums after this one, but as of right now, Chromakopia feels like that moment where everything's pulled back and Tyler really introspects about everything that he has been and all these albums.
Do you think that she wears her bangs like this because she has the Harry Potter scar? My father will hear about this, Potter!
And all these stories that he's told through his music over the years. Truth be told, it's what inspired me to finally make this video. I also wanted to do that. I wanted to make that grand video that kind of re-examines and recontextualizes everything that you guys know about me. But that's hard to do. The situation I'm in, at least...
Like, again, we're doing avant-garde film school-esque content, and then we're like... It's like, you edited this, you couldn't put that in there.
I hope is just about over, but weirdly enough, what I'm looking forward to the most is just being able to be sad about something that has nothing to do with her. It feels like, and surprisingly this is barely even an exaggeration, but it feels like every single problem I've had the couple years that I've known this girl, everything that's made me sad in the last couple years has all been centered around her in one way or another. Every mistake or betrayal or...
Oh, you shouldn't have cheated then. I don't know. Let me get out my world's tiniest violin. Oh, my whole life has been centered around this one mistake, and oh. Don't cheat. Problem solved.
Fear, doubt, or heartbreak, everything from losing my apartment to my own negative perception of my sexuality to my wife's self-image issues to me
Also, just for the record, polyamory isn't a sexuality, so, I mean, I don't know.
fearing for my own safety and the safety of my family. It all ties back to this girl.
Wow.
Not all of this stuff is necessarily her fault, but she's been at the center of just every negative
It's
thing
your
in my
fault,
life in one way or
actually.
the other. The other day, I made my wife and my best friend watch Children of Men with me. It's a goddamn beautiful movie. I can't recommend it enough.
God damn.
A man who went from being an activist to a totally broken down nihilist, eventually
Sad.
finding his faith again and reconnecting with his radical roots for the sake of a refugee woman and her baby. We were all crying our eyes out by the end. The reason I needed so desperately to watch such a depressing movie at such a depressing point in my life is, again, just because I wanted to be sad about something that had absolutely nothing to do with Rachel. It worked for an hour or two, but afterwards the weight of everything that she's putting us through just came crashing down on us once again. I've got a whole video written
sad.
about that type of dissociation. The script is actually finished already. But
Oh, we're making another puppy girl video? Let's go, yes.
the conclusion that I landed on in the video was that that type of dissociation just plain does not work long term. You can't just will your problems out of your mind. All you can do is confront them, and if they're unconfrontable, you have to figure out how to find happiness in spite of them. You need to figure out something that you can look forward to if you want to be able to survive in this depressing-ass world.
Depressing.
Well, that's what Chromakopia is all about. Just
Cool.
tearing up the carpets and exercising the demons at the root, addressing the problems that are stopping you from achieving happiness. Ultimately, no problem ever goes away unless you take the time to understand it and talk about it. It's the only way that you can really grow past any trauma that you might incur in this world. It's about closure and, more importantly, acceptance. Talking about those insurmountable problems is what Tyler's doing with Chromakopia, and that's what I've been trying to do with this video and really all my videos. So let's take a quick look back at
That's what I've been trying to do with all my videos, is use everyone else as a sounding board to process my own fuck-ups and failures in life. And then I get mad when people don't want to watch that kind of content on YouTube. Just go to therapy. BetterHelp is cheap. Somebody to talk to, I guess.
his previous albums and see if we can identify what some of these problems are, so that we can then see how the album goes through them one by one and showcases the closure and self-acceptance that they've all been met with, and how Tyler finds the beauty within himself that had been covered up by all of that trauma.
It's beautiful.
So we've got a lot to go through here. Let's start with the most prevalent thing that Tyler talks about over his entire discography, love. For those first few albums, every other song is about a different girl that he says he's completely fallen for. Salem, Slater, she, whatever. Then we've got two whole albums, Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost, about two different people that he swore he was in love with. Being fickle like that when it comes to love is real shit. It's a problem that I used to have, where I could very easily fall head over heels for anybody who would give me the time of day, and my dating life started to feel more like an assembly line than a journey. There's a lot of fear of commitment that comes with a habit like that, and that's something that's always been prevalent in Tyler's music. Like I said, I've kind of grown out of that problem, or maybe I just found a woman who was perfect enough to stop it from happening, but regardless, it's a problem that I can really, really empathize with. Next up, we've got a related problem, hyperactive libido. Tyler's never really framed this as a problem, per se, in his previous work, but from the earlier, more sexually frustrated albums to the newer ones, where it's clear that sex is just a major part of how he processes his emotions, it's always been a very prevalent theme.
It's my emotional support fucking. I don't know what to say. I didn't mean to cheat on my wife again. God forgive me. It's just my emotional support sex. It's my emotional support libido. Like, yes, actually, as a matter of fact, it is a problem if your libido is ruining your relationships. That is, in fact, a problem. That is, in fact, a problem. Yes, that is a problem. Yes, yeah.
In and of itself, high libido isn't really a character flaw at all, but ever since somewhere around the time he put out the song Sorry Not Sorry, there's been a lot of talk of overlap with that previous issue, where Tyler's admitted to having a habit of leading people on and ditching them once a sexual or romantic interest lure him in a different direction. Thankfully, I can't fully relate to that part of the problem.
Oh, we can't relate to that problem at all. Even though our high libido is actually what got us in this situation. Like, does she forget that the other one...
Caramelis et unions donatet $4.99 truc superchat. Real life advisa. A mistake is not a smile just because it did not take very long to make it.
Everybody witness, thank you, Caramelized Onions. Great advice. Mistakes are still big, even if they were only a moment in time. Completely true. But, like, this is, she's... What? Like, yes, this is certainly a problem that you dealt with by your own description. Like, does she forget that the other video is, like, other people have seen it? And it's still up right now? That you can watch that video and you can very clearly see that, like, one of the biggest issues was that she said almost verbatim, she was like, what did she say? She was like, I've always saw sex as, like, validity, right? Like, I always like to express myself and, you know, my relationships through sex. And I have a very casual attitude towards sex, and my girlfriend at the time didn't. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pursue, like, an open relationship. And that her libido was a problem. That's something that she actually fucking said. Like, what?
But hyperactive libido getting in the way of personal connections is very real, just like the last one. A lot of the time I worry that the people in my life kind of assume the worst of me and think that my intentions with them must just be sexual, just because I'm such a sexual person in a general sense. For instance, I recently told somebody very dear to me to have fun on their way to a hookup, and I spent the next hour just laying in bed worried that they misinterpreted that as me having some sort of personal interest in their sex life, if you catch my drift. The same goes for anytime I want to randomly compliment somebody. There's always this fear that everything I do is being perceived as related to sex by the other people.
It's because you're the one that does that. You're the one that expressed this as an issue.
It's a strange label to have attached to yourself, the sexual one, because while again, in and of itself, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a high libido, it definitely makes it easier for people to assume that you've got some sort of ulterior motive. Sexual motivations are probably the number one most lied about thing in all of human history, to be honest, if I had to guess. So it tracks.
I'm sure.
Anyways, on to problem number 3. We've got Tyler's intense passion and his ambitious mindset. It was a big part of the cherry bomb discussion, how people like him and me are never really satisfied because we're always just looking for the next mountain to climb, whether creatively or just in our own life goals. Again, I can very much relate to this one. It feels like satisfaction, truly being happy with where you're at in life, is completely impossible for me sometimes.
Yeah, it's because you're like a thrill seeker. That, like, everything that's being described here is like very deep, like dopamine chasing, dopamine deficiency, thrill seeking, to a reckless degree, where it's like you're constantly looking for these big moments of excitement and happiness in your life. And like we talked about earlier, it's very important to recognize that those moments are very few and far between in your life. There are going to be really big, impactful, meaningful, super, dopamine rush moments in your life. Those are very few and far between. Being happy is being okay and finding the joy and the happiness in small day-to-day things that like aren't, I graduated from college or whatever the fuck. Like, your unhappiness is entirely a result of your framing that your life is meant to exist in this perfect state of bliss at all times. There are going to be days where you're not happy. There's going to be days where you're upset, where you're sad, where your feelings are hurt, for no reason at all, even, it may feel. But the reality is that people that are happy and people that are truly happy in life find meaning and joy in small, insignificant moments throughout the day. And that's how people when people are always like, everybody else is happy but me. It's not that everybody else is happy in the way that you're describing it. People are able to make peace with hard days and find the good in things that maybe aren't that good. That's what that is. If you are constantly seeking that dopamine hit that is as grand as a new relationship, a new hookup, a new job, a new great achievement, if you're seeking that every single day, yes, you will be miserable forever, because those moments don't happen every day and they never will. There's not a single person in the world that gets that, Molly high from an achievement that they just completed every single day. There's not a single person alive that has that, because it's not realistic and it doesn't happen. Your framing of the world is why you're unhappy. It's not because, nobody allowed you to sleep around. It's not because nobody understood your sexual proclivities. It's not because, you weren't allowed to have an open relationship. And it's not because everybody else is better off than you. It's because you are unwilling to accept that life is monotonous. Life is very day by day. Life is sometimes boring. Life is sometimes disappointing. And being unable to parse that life isn't always like a roller coaster euphoric experience is the root of your own unhappiness. That's all.
No matter how many of my dreams I accomplish, no matter how many people I have nearby that love me, no matter how the material conditions of my life improve, I'm always just looking for problems, and so sometimes those problems are all I can see. Then with Igor, we've got the narcissism angle, where you feel somewhere deep inside like you're right about everything, and anybody disagreeing with your subjective opinion is just the result of a miscommunication that happened at some point.
This is true. If you guys disagree with me, you are, in fact, wrong. It's true. I'm right about everything. Very true. I know that she's saying in general that's a narcissistic trait. It is, but not with me, because I am always right true. Write that down.
A trait of mine that I do my absolute best to suppress. And man, saying all this out loud in this video feels like a pretty big self-report, but I guess this whole video feels like a self-report.
It is, certainly.
Whatever. Publicly talking about my character flaws is a pretty huge part of what growth looks like for me. And something tells me that Tyler can probably...
And that's the problem. This is something that we need to distinguish here. There's a difference between like soundboarding and processing your thoughts and kind of like getting them off your chest and sharing them, versus seeking external validation for, quote unquote, working on your perceived flaws. Because the reality is that behavior like this, it serves exclusively for external validation. It's not because we want to work on our character flaws. It's because we want others to perceive us as a good person. And that is the root of somebody who actually is not willing to do the work to be a good person, right? Because if I have a lot of character flaws and I really want to work on them, who am I going to work on those with? People in my life that I've wronged, people in my life that I've hurt. I'm going to talk to friends, family, loved ones. I'm going to talk to professionals. I'm going to talk to people where it's safe for me to do so. If I'm doing this in public, if I like get on the side of the street with a megaphone and I go, I did not rape today. I want everybody to clap for me. It's not because I want to be a good person or because I want to do the right thing or because, you know, it's really important for me to move through my character flaws and all this other shit. I want people to clap for me. I want people to have joy for me. I want everybody to yes queen me into the fucking sunset. That's what I want. That's why you talk about things like this publicly on your YouTube channel, is because you want positive attention and to be validated. And that is the biggest red flag in the entire world, because people that do that aren't actually good people. They just want to be perceived as good people. Write that down.
Probably relate to that. Fortunately for me, the final issue of Tyler's that I'm going to touch on here is one that I can't personally relate to in any way, but that is very important for the plot and themes of Chromakopia.
What's that?
Tyler's very first album was called Bastard, and unsurprisingly, his relationship with his absentee father has been a big theme in his music ever since the very beginning. I'm going to put on the other screen a list of songs where Tyler talks about his dad real quick. Again, I really can't imagine what it'd be like to grow up without a father. The best that I can do here is just to listen to the music and try to empathize. So far, going through the previous work, Tyler's attitude has almost always been anger. Really, the song Answer off of the album Wolf is the only track I can think of off the top
I can't relate to this at all, but I'm still going to make it about me. Okay, let's go, White Woman.
of my head that's about how Tyler just wishes he could have known his dad rather than calling him an asshole and just relentlessly hating on him. So Chromakopia is an album about processing all of these emotions, admitting your flaws and the ways that you were wronged, and why that's such an important thing to do, how that discussion can help you to grow past your trauma and your weaknesses. It shouldn't be any surprise to regular viewers that talking about your problems to help fix them is something that I can really, really get behind. Starting the album out, we get a sort of thesis statement for the concept of the album, with the opening song, Saint Chroma. Tyler whispers this verse that gradually transitions into regular spoken aloud rapping about how he's got this fire inside of him, but he's thinking about whether or not it's time to wrap it all up and retire from making music, denying himself the chance to let that light inside of him shine. Importantly, he ends the first section of the verse saying, being confident. To be honest, there are times that I catch myself gaslighting myself into thinking that all my self-doubt is performative, and I get the feeling that Tyler has intrusive thoughts that look like that too, but that is not how it works.
I'm just like Tyler, you guys. Tyler is just like me. We're on a first name basis, he and I. Tyler and I, if you will. Me and my bud.
Self-doubt is real. You may know in your heart that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's where I'm at, but that doesn't mean that you don't have doubts. No, this line, if I ever told you that I had doubts, I was lying, has to be ironic. Or, not ironic, but more specifically, a deliberate example of the type of dissociation that it takes to thrive in a creative career. Shit, this very album, like all of his others, is kind of all about his doubts. What we end up with here in this introductory song is the tightest yet example of that never-ending struggle between the side of you that knows that you can do incredible things and the side of you that tells you that all your passion is cringy and will never be appreciated. In Tyler's case,
there are two wolves inside of you. You have to choose which one to feed.
that's probably especially tied to his age and how long he's been doing this. I mean, Bastard, his first album came out 16 years ago now. I've only been doing this channel for 6.5 years, and I'm constantly trying to prove to myself that I still haven't peaked yet. I can absolutely understand.
You have. You have, dude. There's not a market for this content. We did peak. Unfortunately, we've peaked.
I'm just wanting to quit while you're ahead and cement your legacy before you fall off. We're all gonna fall off someday, so, you know, you might as well die young and leave a pretty corpse, right?
Well, no, actually. No. I think that kind of reveals our internal thought process here. Like, I'm sorry, but there's more to life than, like, being young, hot, and fuckable. There's a lot more to life than that.
Ultimately, that struggle, that duality, is the narrative that the album centered around. Will the passion beat out the fear, or will Tyler leave the limelight early enough to actually be missed by his fans? And given that his body of music has always been so personal, seemingly the best way to answer that question is to acknowledge the history of baggage and trauma that's made his music so easy to
Personally, I will always be hot and young. I don't know, can't relate.
Connect with, and see if we still like him once that stuff's out of the picture. Basically, the question that the album is asking at this point is whether or not Tyler is still Tyler without hating his father, or without all those other personal issues that I mentioned earlier that have been prevalent in his music throughout his whole career. You know, is a sad song still relatable in the same way if the creator of the sad song isn't sad anymore?
Yeah, if you still don't, like, bawl your fucking eyes out to Adele, I don't know what you're doing. Like, who gives a shit that she's happily married now? I Set Fire to the Brain still fucking hits, dude. Hello? Like, secretly, I think we're all, like, you can say it, this is a safe space. I think secretly we're all hoping that Adele gets divorced so we can get another album. It still hits. It doesn't matter that she's happy and married now, I don't care. It's still sad. It's still incredibly sad. What's the other one that I like? I Set Fire to the Rain, what's the other one? And I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away, I couldn't fight it. You know? Like, does that not make you want to cry even though that she's happily married with a child now? Really? Lies!
Or, alternatively, maybe Tyler takes that mask off and we find something beautiful hiding underneath.
Never mind, I'll find
individual problems to take off
someone like you.
It's not the exact word of the album, but let's start with the fourth song, Darling Guy. And this is a song about that flippin' love thing that I mentioned earlier, where Tyler finds it so hard to fall in love and so hard to commit because he's just always falling head over heels for the next person. Now again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with non-monogamy so long as it's properly communicated and consented to. I know plenty of great people who are polyamorous, but
Well,
it's kind of a simple fact that if you're in your 30s, being poly probably would make it really hard to settle down and get married. And
You
ultimately,
think?
for somebody as passionate as Tyler, I think finding a spouse or two and settling down really is the only way that he can enjoy his life if he weren't.
oh my god, she's literally polyvestigating Tyler the Creator. I think that Tyler could really only be happy by having a polyamorous puppycule with adopted Discord kids from the internet. Just my opinion. Dude, shut the fuck up! Dude! Come on!
Creating art anymore. That struggle between stability and creativity has always been a theme in his music. It's something he's been struggling with since Wolf back in 2013 at the very least. In this song, we see...
Guys, are you having problems with your interpersonal dynamics? Are you finding it difficult to commit to one person because of your crippling fears of abandonment, insecurity, and projection onto others? You should try polyamory. Instead of ruining one relationship, you can ruin 5 at one time. Isn't that amazing? Subscribe for more hot tips.
Finally get his answer, his final look on how he sees his future looking.
When that gray hair finally come, at least I felt.
Please stop.
About 30 seconds after it officially released at around 6 a.m. a few months ago. And hear me when I say that this song was
I'm
kind of
hearing
an
you.
emotional moment for me.
Wow.
No, am I one to get all emotional about the creative struggles of a complete stranger? No, not usually. But man, for the 6.5 years that I've been doing this channel, I've been listening to Tyler describe the exact same doubts that I've had since the moment I first hit my stride with these.
He's literally talking to her. Like, when he's writing that music, he's literally like, this is for Leadhead. It's very true.
Videos. I've even made whole ass videos about how I'm just terrified of the emotional commitment that I've made to this channel and my creative career as a whole. Frankly, I've been watching one of my biggest creative role models ask himself if he should just give up for like 9 years now. And listening to the song, I finally got to hear him say, no, fuck that, I'm too passionate about this shit to give up on it. It's a little bit embarrassing to admit it because this is the life of a total stranger that we're talking about here, but yeah, hearing that last bar in this song meant a lot to me. I'm lucky enough to have found a woman to be my creative muse, so I get
This is like the shit that who's the guy that killed John Lennon? Like, this is the kind of shit that he was talking about, was it not? Was it not? You know, the guy that like follows Drew Barrymore around? He's like, Drew Barrymore made this movie about me. Like, this movie is for me. Drew Barrymore did this for me. Like, Tyler, run. Tyler! Tyler, run!
have the best of both worlds, but man, that doesn't mean that I haven't spent my whole career thinking about giving it all up and getting a job as a delivery driver. That's the kind of closure that we're talking about with this album. If you've been paying attention, you know that I've had a lot of emotional investment in the various problems that Tyler's bumped up against over his career, and his life as a whole, really. Because I just plain see so much of myself in him. And yeah, maybe that does make me a stan.
I, too, see... How tall is Tyler, the Creator? How tall is he? How tall is... Oh, Tyler, the Creator is 6'2". I, too, see myself in a 6'2" black man who raps. Yes, I do. Yes, I see myself reflected in him. Very true, very true.
Or like the song Colossus off of Wolf. But I just share a lot of his problems. And one by one, that same kind of closure I was just talking about is applied to so many different problems that I've had a similar level of emotional investment in for almost a decade. We got him coming to terms with his hyperactive libido in Hey Jane, where...
Almost a decade? You were like... A decade ago, weren't you like 15? Oh.
He acknowledges that he should stop slut-shaming himself and just be transparent about the fact that sex is a core
And
part
join a polycule. I agree.
of who he is. I can't tell you how much I've shamed myself for my sexuality, and I have an OnlyFans account, for fuck's sake.
Sorry, but being polyamorous is not a fucking sexuality. Yeah, it's not. You just choose to take multiple partners. That's all it is. Even in my most charitable interpretation of polyamory, it's not a sexuality. It's just a choice in your willingness to take multiple partners, because you have straight people that are polyamorous, you have gay people who are polyamorous, you know, lesbian people, bisexual people. Like, it is not a sexuality. It's a choice to, you know, share love with multiple different people. In my most charitable interpretations of it, it's not an inherent sexual orientation. Not even fucking kind of. Not even close. It's not a sexuality. You're just really horny, and that's okay. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But shut the fuck up about it, I guess. I don't know.
But I still just sex shame myself. I mean, sex is part of my career, and I still just feel like it's this fundamental flaw in my character for some reason. And inherent onto...
Well, when you keep stepping out of your relationship and home wrecking yourself, yeah, I would say it's an inherent flaw. Like, if your sex work or your, you know, puppy posting or whatever the fuck is destroying your relationships, then yeah, I think that's pretty shameful. Yeah, personally.
Actual evil within me. I don't slut shame other people, but I do it to myself. Sex can be volatile. You have to be very delicate with it, but it's not a bad thing by any means. It happens to be like my second most valuable form of self-expression. I can't go around...
Your second most valuable form of self-expression is fucking? Girl, get a hobby. What? What? Your most valuable form, your second most valuable form of self-expression is fucking. Oh, we're worried about peaking. Oh, Queen, we're way past peaking. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? What? I really only feel like me when I'm fucking. What? Kill me.
Having this horrible perception of something that's a fundamental part of who I am, like, my wife is the one who taught me that lesson, but man, hearing that lesson reflected in a song from an artist that's been such a huge part of my life, and so many things I've felt over the years, just feels, again, like an extra layer of closure.
Wow.
This album is just loaded with songs like these, where Tyler talks about all these issues and fears he's been talking about for his whole career, and each and every one of them just has this air of self-acceptance, and it's just so incredibly optimistic in a way that's absolutely never been before, all while keeping prevalent those fears and anxieties of becoming washed up and not finding happiness, not finding Okaga in time. It's just such a beautiful journey. It's got the best balance of different sounds that Tyler's created yet, the best pacing, the best theming.
So good.
Cherry Bomb is still my favorite Tyler album. I think that's always going to be true. But
cool.
You'd have a pretty tough time convincing me that Chromakopia isn't his best album yet. Eventually, though, getting towards the end of the album, we land on Like Him. And this is the song about Tyler's father. This man's first album was called Bastard. Tyler being abandoned by his father really is like the single biggest piece of trauma that's been underpinning his entire career. If you want to go out and say that this thing is the plot of Tyler's entire discography, I don't think anyone would really be able to argue with you for more than a minute or two. So how on earth do we bring closure to something that huge, that unresolved?
Tell me.
The man still hasn't come back as far as any of us know.
Tell me.
Well, in a beautiful twist that addresses Tyler's narcissism that was the subject of Igor, the answer is empathy. The song starts with Tyler being told by his mother that he's starting to look exactly like his father.
If somebody tells you that they're an empath, they're not. Run away.
Before he goes on to sing about how he's getting old and feels lost in his 30s, fearing his inevitable aging. All this stuff brings to mind a lot of the anxieties that this album spent a lot of time talking about, specifically around parenthood. You've got Hey Jane, which is all about pregnancy scare and how this girl may or may not be pregnant to raise the kid alone.
We're starting to talk about parenthood. You guys know what's gonna happen, right?
So that she doesn't have to commit to being caught up in Tyler's limelight and energy, and because she doesn't want to be with Tyler, knowing that she'd be holding him back from the things that he loves.
And as a mom of 4 adult puppies.
You got Darling I, just addressing the fear of romantic commitment in general, and just in a broader sense, this album has that duality to it, where whenever Tyler's talking about adulthood and becoming too tired to keep going, the sound has a generally somber vibe to it, but during any discussion of sex, creativity, gender shit, or music, the energy is so high and optimistic in the sound.
Wow.
This is, if you ask me, all there to draw a parallel between Tyler and his father. Tyler has spent so many songs just passionately shitting on this man for choosing the single life over starting a family, but ultimately, over the course of the album, he's able to acknowledge who he is and what he wants out of life and finds a new way to love himself, all while he decides to choose his career over starting a family.
Beautiful.
It's not exactly the same. After all, Hey Jane is just about a pregnancy scare, not about literally having a child and choosing to abandon them, but this is the first time we see Tyler saying that he understands how his father must have felt when he made that decision. And furthermore, saying that he might do the same thing if he was in that position. So if he can forgive himself for not being a family person, maybe he can forgive his father for it too. It's just fucking beautiful. I don't even have an absentee father. That's one of those problems that I explicitly can't relate to Tyler on, but God, I bawled my eyes out when I heard this song for the first time. It's just a relationship dynamic, a perception of somebody that's defined.
Yes, I have multiple air purifiers, yes.
The music that...
Honestly, her calling them her kids instead of her litter is the best outcome I could hope for. Dude, don't give her any ideas. Shut up, Killjoy. You're gonna... Stop. Don't give her any ideas. Stop.
Has meant so much to me over the years. Then there's another twist. At the end of the song, we hear what I'm led to believe is the voice of Tyler's actual mother, finally admitting to Tyler that she was the one who kicked out his father, and that he wanted to be there for Tyler all along, and she just asked him for forgiveness. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I could forgive that or not. If that's really is how it went down, if my mother just let me believe that my father abandoned me when in fact it was her that kept me from having a father, I don't know if I could get past it. But, well, if that is what's been happening to Tyler over his life, and that's not just a misinterpretation on my part, I'd like to think that his mother finally coming clean about this lie and asking for forgiveness is what inspired him to make this album, all about self-acceptance and coming to terms with the things that you wish you could change about yourself. I've had similar moments in life where one person's honesty inspired another person to be honest, and as somebody whose whole thing is personal growth, that's like kind of the rawest, most powerful kind of personal growth that you can really have, at least in my experience. Ultimately, it's my interpretation that that honesty from his mother is what inspired Tyler, at the end of this album, to accept himself for all his flaws and commit to being the creator that he was just born to be. That honesty is what inspires him to take his mask off and let the fire inside of him out at the end of the album. Ultimately, the biggest juxtaposition of this album is the name.
It's really annoying, too, because, like, honesty is a really important principle, and it's really important to be honest, you know, in life. It's a really good, strong sign of integrity, and, you know, spin the wheel, whatever positive character trait you can think of. Honesty and integrity are really up there, right? They're really important. However, honesty and integrity and openness and all this other shit, like, you have to, it's a time and a place kind of thing, right? Because, like, if honesty is really important to me, and somebody asks me, Like, the example I always use is if somebody asks me, like, hey, do you like this shirt? And I actually don't like the shirt, but they're really excited about it. I'm going to say, yeah, I actually do like that shirt. It looks good on you. Is that like a moral failing on my part? I would say no, because I can see how much this person likes this shirt. They think they look good in it. They really like it. Maybe it's a shirt that I don't like. Just saying, like, oh, no, yeah, actually, I do like that shirt. I think it looks really nice on you. There is, like, a natural limit and a natural end to, like, untethered honesty. And the reason that the quote-unquote untethered honestly people are the most unlikable human beings in the entire world is because they are selfish and narcissistic, and they prioritize themselves feeling good about always being open, honest, truthful, vulnerable, above the feelings of other people. And that's, like, a really negative character trait and something that people really don't like. Like, just telling the truth isn't enough. Like, just being a truthful person, like, that is not good enough. If I have somebody who's like, oh, my boyfriend's, like, being a dick or whatever, and I'm like, ha, he's the worst person in the entire world, you should leave him right now. Or, like, if it was me, I would slap the... It's like, nobody wants that kind of level of unfettered honesty. You have to be, like, mindful of other people. And this is, like, a pure, unfiltered version of narcissism, where my, like, compulsion to be open, honest, show-stopping, incredible, and brilliant comes before the feelings and well-being of other people in my life at all times because it makes me feel good. Nobody wants to be around that. That's terrible. Everybody has that one friend that's like, I just tell it like it is. It's like, no, you're a fucking asshole. And nobody wants to hang out with you. Nobody asked you for advice for this very reason. I just tell it how it is. I'm just really real. I'm shot, no chaser. No, you're a dick. You're a dick. There's a difference.
Chromakopia is a reference to this old book called The Phantom Tollbooth, where a character called Chroma the Great is tasked with using color to orchestrate the sunrise and the sunset. The thing that grabs me about this title is how everything in this album is monochromatic. The cover, the artwork, the music videos, all of it is just pure black and white with a slight green tint. But the album's title itself is a reference to the color spectrum. There are all sorts of ways to interpret this juxtaposition, but here's the one that I landed on.
Tell me.
Ultimately, once you acknowledge a problem and accept the things that you can't change about yourself, you turn this caustic, volatile part of your life into a memory. It becomes a photograph of the past, static and unmoving.
Deep.
Black and white.
Deep.
This is ultimately an album about Tyler taking all the color, all the emotion out of all these things that have plagued his past, so that he can then use those colors to paint a new picture. Just like Flower Boy, growing a flower out of a pile of shit life. Only this time he's leaving the past behind him and looking solely to his future. He's finally moving on. It's exactly what I aim to do with this video. Call it me being inspired by the album's honesty in the same way that Tyler created this album off the inspiration from his mother's honesty, if that is what happened. But I'm tired of keeping my own mask on when it comes to this this issue with Rachel.
Tell me about
this girl, someone who I've given so much love and trust and respect to, as she's hurt us all time and time again, has finally lost me.
Wow. The puppy-kill is fractured.
I won't even say what all she's done, because frankly you wouldn't believe me, and
probably not.
Maybe even more frankly, I'm a little bit afraid of her. She's an abuser in every sense of the word.
She's an abusive, violent, evil person, and I'm really scared of, the repercussions. So I have an idea. I'm going to make a YouTube video about it. What in the essence of thought is this? Oh my god. She was right in identifying that this is a very strong narcissistic trait to, like, never shut the fuck up. You never get sick of your own voice. Oh my god.
Think of the worst thing that you can... Think of the worst thing that somebody can be. The worst thing you can imagine them doing, and there's a pretty good chance it's on the list somewhere. I wish that was an exaggeration, but when you see all of her deeds listed out on paper, it looks like something that we all made up as a joke. Like a parody of a
you have, like, a burn book of all the wrongs others have committed against you. Very healthy way to live.
Human being. In response to all this, she's lied and redirected herself away from personal growth, just repeating those same mistakes and doing the same horrible things that I once forgave her for, to people who are even more vulnerable than I was when I first met her.
Wow, that's brave.
Ultimately, my family and I have made the incredibly hard decision to just cut her out of our lives. She was like a little sister to me. I thought that...
She was like a little sister to me. This is the person that you stepped out of your relationship with? Are we talking about the same person? Have we fucked up this whole time? We were talking about somebody completely different? Or is this the person that she stepped out of her relationship for? Are we on the wrong page here? I feel like we're not on the wrong page, but if we're on the wrong page, somebody correct me, please. This is supposedly, the way that I'm listening to this is Ashley, yeah, the one that she fucking cheated on her girlfriend with at the time. She saw her like a little sister. Kill me. Kill me! Kill me.
We could help her to grow past her violent and dangerous behavior if we just forgave her enough, if we talked to her about all the ways that we've grown since we met her. If we made sure that she was safe and never stopped loving her, surely she would see that trust, like actual trust, can exist between people. Surely we could make her accept that she needed a change. But that was just denial. I was in denial about it. Everybody connected to this situation was in denial about it for years now.
Denial is a river in Egypt.
Out of our lives. I had to be convinced through...
Isaac i $1 amb 99 centavos trucs superchat. Little sister? Lily Urcharmantion?
Oh, thank you, Hizaki. Everybody witness. Yeah. Oh, so it is the same one. That's what I'm thinking of, right? Nope, she's just trying to reframe things because Ashley is the girl that the 21-year-old she adopted who she... Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm right in assuming this is the same person. Okay.
Mutual tears by multiple people to finally accept that this isn't what our life was supposed to look like. My wife put it the best. She said that we cut out a hole in our heart for her, and now there's nothing there but empty space.
Wow.
For my part, it feels like I'm losing a limb.
That's a strong message right there. That's a strong message. That gets a strong message.
Wow, this is a strong message.
It's like I cut a hole out of my heart for her. Wow, brave.
I would rather lose a limb. I mean, there's a lot of days where, you know, I wish that I could have just never found out about all the things she's done. I wish that I never caught her in her lies. I wish I could just go back to a few months ago when I was just living and just surrounded by her comfortable version of the truth. However, as her apology for all this stuff has taken the form of her doing everything she can to make our lives harder, you know, as she makes her exit, it's impossible to ignore that she never wanted to change. And she was never truly sorry. People have done some really horrible things to me in my life, like things I can't talk about on YouTube without instantly getting, you know, the video flagged. But for all the love I've given this person, all the forgiveness and understanding, I've never in my entire life felt more used. This is turning out to have a lot.
Takes a drag off of the cigarette.
Lot less to do with Chromakopia than I was expecting it to when I initially came up with the concept for this ending. Chromakopia is an album about never giving up, but I'm using it to tell a story about how I've been forced to give up on something I loved so dearly. This is not finally finding happiness. This is world-shattering loneliness. This is an abandonment. This
is world-shattering loneliness as you live at home with your three adult puppies and your fucking wife. Wow. Like, do the partners of these people not just feel like shit? Like, it was the same thing with fucking Z. It's like, Poppy's like, I loved her more than anything in the whole world, and I would have, like, literally killed an entire family of 8 in order to save our relationship, and I've never felt more alone and discarded and unloved and disgusting and useless. And Xena's just, like, sitting there fucking knitting. Like, hello, you have an entire fucking family right there. I've never felt lonely. I'd rather cut off my arms than be without her. How disrespectful of a fucking human being are you? Like, your bitch is right there on the other side of that wall. Are you serious right now?
Of the values of, you know, forgiveness and mutual growth that I've always prided myself on. Frankly, it's hard to feel like this outcome is anything other than me just becoming a worse person.
Yeah, true.
You know, anyone who watches this channel knows that forgiveness, personal growth, and, you know, trust in people are things I value a lot and things I fought very hard to get back after I lost them.
True.
And it feels like I have had to abandon some of that, you know. Yeah, we gave her lots of second chances, but for me to just look at somebody and say, no, nothing you can do will make this better, it feels like I lost something. Not just Rachel.
I don't really believe her narration. If this is Ashley, if this is the girl that she's talking about from the honesty video or whatever, the one that she cheated on her fucking wife with, yeah, I don't believe this narration at all.
It feels like I lost a part of myself. Like I said, like I'm just a slightly worse person than I was before all of this. I know that that's not true, though. I'm doing what I'm doing to protect the people I love, you know, the needs of the many and all that, but... Let me tell you what the Chromakopia connection here is. Let me tell you why I'm going to be listening to this album and crying my eyes out thinking about this situation for the next couple years.
Cool.
The situation that I'm in, it might not be one of the ones that Tyler's made an album about, but the acceptance that Chromakopia is all about, that's what I have to look forward to right now. That's what's going to be waiting for me once, you know, I finally start to heal from all of this. Over the coming years, the color will drain from this situation for me, and I'll be able to add those colors back into my palette. And this video, you know, hopefully is just the first step, the first demonstration of some of those colors that I'm going to be bringing back into my world and reclaiming. Even as I write this, as the overcast of winter fades from my town, I can see the blue of the sunrise, the green of the trees, the red of those candles over there, the whole spectrum of bulb lights that I have lining the ceiling of my porch, more vividly than I've been able to for a long time. And I mean that like as literally as I meant anything I've ever said. It's literally more colorful.
Cool.
I'm gonna go off script for a minute here.
Freestyle! Freestyle!
Paragraph about everything being more vivid. I was kind of just predicting how I was gonna feel. I was still in the middle of this situation. Rachel was still, you know, fucking with my life, all of our lives, and you know, I've gotten through depressing phases before, and that whole thing about things looking more colorful afterwards has been true in my experience. But now it's been like 4 days since the situation was resolved, quote unquote, and it's blowing my mind, like how true that is. I mean, literally, like these shoes, my fucking Flower Boy shoes look.
It's true. When I'm sad, I quite literally become colorblind. It's true.
So orange and so pink. got some pill bottles over there that look just vivid. It's... I hit the nail on the head on how this whole thing was gonna feel. And that's why, in spite of all of this, I'm able to have a little bit of hope right now.
Right.
Things are peaceful right now in a way that they haven't been for a while.
So I know I'm going to make a YouTube video attacking this person and calling them an abuser. Yeah. What do we always say, guys? Say it with me. In times of peace, the warlike person attacks themselves. Right? Everything's finally calm. I got my vision back. Okay, Brianna Wu. I know. I'm going to make a YouTube video calling this person a fucking abuser. Good idea. Great idea. That certainly isn't going to make anybody upset or mad. True.
And yeah, it feels like this great big loss. It feels like ultimately just something I lost, something I didn't win at, but...
You're not first, you're last.
I got something to look forward to. I'm getting those colors back, right? And, I should get back to the script. I might not be at the end of this emotional journey that Chromakopia describes, but I am at the beginning of it. The colors that I once used to paint such an ugly picture of abuse and betrayal are fading from the past.
Is this the music that's at the end of Mean Girls? When she's talking about sucking the poison out, and she's, like, giving Regina George flowers and shit? Isn't this the music that plays at the end of, Mean Girls? Am I tripping?
Being used for a new painting on a canvas, which I'll be using to discover a new meaning for my life. Some things can't be changed. They just can't. In a situation like that, all you can really do is accept it and move on. I could just give up and snuff out the fire, but that's not who I am. I'm not gonna dim my light for anybody, least of all Rachel. As grim and defeated as these last few months have made me feel, as I look out at that sunrise, all I can think about is how excited I am to start the next painting. I hope that you all are gonna be there to see it. This is going off the script again. This is a scary video to make,
It's very scary.
I'm
scared.
horrified
I agree.
about what effect it might have,
Yeah, calling other people domestic abusers usually has no negative consequences. That's very true. Yeah, just say whatever the fuck you want. True.
Because I just want this drama to end. I just can't.
So make a video about it. Good idea.
I need to get past it. And well, unfortunately, talking about my life on camera is how I get past shit.
This is literally like the dude who's riding the bike, and then he like shoves a stick in the fucking spoke of the bike and he eats shit. And he's like, oh, somehow this is everybody else's fault. It's like, this is so scary, and I'm scared that I'm gonna get in trouble, and I'm afraid of this person. I know. Let's make a YouTube video and accuse them of shit. Good idea.
So, well, if you are watching this with
well, don't smoke in bed. Remember, with her libido, her coping skill is cheating. So we don't really have a good repertoire of coping skills going. So I'm not surprised that spilling our guts to strangers on the internet for attention, clicks, likes, and money is probably a pretty bad coping skill. Yeah.
Empathetic eyes. Thank you. But if you made it to the end of the video, I guess I just got one last thing to say to you. Don't ever dim your light for anybody.
Never dim your light for anybody.
As impossible as it seems, find something to look forward to.
Well, of course, unless your light consumes and ravages the healthy relationships around you, then dim your light a little bit. Yeah.
Because there's always something out there, something to look forward to. Some new painting to be painted.
New painting to be painted.
And if you believe in that,
new songs to be sung.
Like Flower Boy says, you can enjoy
Suddenly,
it right now,
I'm feeling
today.
like spring has sprung.
It's still bad at the moment.
Yeah, gotta hit that cigarette. Nice. Guys, I have a really good idea. We're gonna get some bottle. So what is that? New Amsterdam. Disgusting. New Amsterdam peach, mind you. I'm gonna smoke a joint on the couch, and I want you guys to play guitar around me.
Maybe I'll make a community post or something if I decide to go through with that. Secondly, let's just get straight into the Patreon read. This video is long enough already. It's going to be a little bit of a special one this time because, while this video is not making any money on ad revenue, I haven't even uploaded it yet, and I already know that it's impossible for this to get monetized with all the copyrighted music that's in it.
Cool. Very nice. Very cool. Wow, that was terrible, guys. What are we thinking? That was terrible. That was ass.